Alright, you and I are diving into a story where a fallen noble gets one last shot at fixing everything. Welcome to Ares. Guards on patrol are bragging about how peaceful the Empire is. The older guard agrees, but says you can never be too sure. He knows the rebels could strike at any moment. These guys come from tiny kingdoms, just waiting for a chance to start a war. The other guard thinks they have finally given up on their hopeless rebellion. It has been quiet, maybe a little too quiet lately. He wonders if the knights already wiped them out, hoping this peace lasts forever so he can keep his easy job. Somewhere else, a man is shouting that they need to kill the emperor and tear this entire corrupt empire to the ground. He claims it is their only hope to reclaim their home. The others trade nervous looks, knowing they need someone special for this mission. Enter our main character, Count Logan McLain. A strategist warns him that the Book of Visions is far too dangerous to steal. Logan says he knows the risks and walks out of the room where they were plotting their final strike against the Empire. As he leaves, a young boy follows him, calling Logan a true patriot for taking on such a suicidal mission for his country. Logan asks what he is talking about. The boy mentions the Book of Visions, reminding him how many lives were lost protecting it. Many comrades died over the years trying to keep it safe. Now, protecting that book is the top priority for every Imperial soldier. Logan is still willing to risk it all and carry the weight of the mission alone. He just stares back with a dark expression. He tells the boy it sounds like he volunteered for this. The kid points out Logan is fluent in the ancient language. Carrying this burden in silence is not just patriotism. Logan tells him to shut up before he makes things sound even worse. He thinks those words insult the dead. This is not about being a patriot for him. This is about cold, hard revenge. We flash back to when Logan was a kid, getting absolutely wrecked in a duel by his talented younger brother, Ronian. People whispered that Ronian was a sword genius at 3 years old. Meanwhile, Logan had to grind through 10 years of basic training. He spent a decade just trying to be a knight. Everyone thought the McLain family was doomed with a fool like Logan as the heir. Years later, his father loses it, slamming the table and accusing Logan of poisoning his own brother with a deadly, paralyzing toxin. He kicks Logan out, saying that hurting his own blood out of jealousy is unforgivable. He tells Logan he is no longer his son. Logan accepts the exile, becomes a wandering mercenary, and spends 10 years realizing just how pathetic his life had actually become. Now here is where it gets heartbreaking. Stick with me, gossip spreads that his brother, Ronian McLain, is about to be executed. Ronian had been fighting on the front lines against the Empire. Logan realized he still needed to say one last thing to his brother. He just wanted to beg him to stay alive. But at the square, he sees the blood-stained guillotine and feels pure, soul-crushing terror. A soldier screams that this is what happens to anyone who defies the Empire. Logan watches in horror and swears he will get vengeance. He vows to destroy the Empire that wiped out his family. He never got the chance to ask his brother for his forgiveness. Back in the present, Imperial guards are chasing our main character, screaming that he is the thief who stole the Book of Visions. While running, Logan hits a dead end. He is trapped in a dark alley with zero chance of escaping the soldiers surrounding him. He has no choice but to fight. One guard lunges in, and Logan barely blocks the blade from cutting him down. He finds a tiny opening, disarms the guy, and slashes his throat before the other guards can even react to his speed. Another guard curses at him, but Logan is faster, stabbing him straight through the chin. Suddenly, a man creeps up from behind. The assassin goes for a killing blow, but Logan outplays him and ends his life too. Then, an entire squad of guards appears. Okay, I know what you are thinking. This is the end. They surround him, demanding he return the book he stole. Logan just gives a faint, tired smile. If he's going down, he is taking every single one of these bastards with him. He crushes a mysterious stone in his hand, triggering a massive explosion that lights up the entire castle in a blinding flash. Logan is drifting through a dark void. He thinks back on his life, realizing it was filled with nothing but regrets and hollow revenge. He says killing those Imperial scumbags felt good, but even in death, the weight of his past mistakes is still crushing his soul. He wishes he could have apologized to his brother. Even now, he hopes that somehow he can find his family in the afterlife. Suddenly, Logan wakes up in a bed with his head bandaged. His brain is pounding, and he wonders how death could hurt this much. A voice calls him young master and asks if he's okay. Logan looks up and sees a face he never expected to see again. He gasps out the name Rick. The man confirms it, introducing himself as the most loyal servant of the McLain family. He asks if Logan is feeling all right. Logan is losing it because he knows for a fact that Rick died 30 years ago. He asks Rick how he is still breathing. The servant looks terrified and runs out, yelling for the maid to go grab a doctor. He screams that the young master has lost his mind. Trust me, you and I are about to see a legend reborn. You and I are jumping into a story about redemption. Logan wakes up confused after a head injury, watching soldiers train through his window. Seeing his family crest everywhere, he wonders if this is a dream. Suddenly, someone bursts in calling out for our main character. It is his brother Ronian asking if he is okay. Logan realizes the voice is familiar. but the boy looks incredibly nervous. Standing before his brother, Logan remembers this exact day. It was the afternoon of their first official duel, and things went south fast. He was crushed in that fight. Ronian had visited him afterward out of kindness, but past Logan was blinded by jealousy. He had spat insults at his brother, telling him to never mention that day again. Just constant mistreatment and toxic behavior. After all that mistreatment, Ronian, who once idolized his older brother, eventually gave up and never sought him out again. Calling his past mistakes gives Logan a massive headache. Ronian panics, asking if his brother is feeling alright. Rick suggests the young master needs more rest and tells Ronian to leave, but Logan speaks up to stop him. Logan tells him it is fine if Ronian stays. His brother looks at him with a gentle, yet very cautious expression. Even the servant is baffled. Ronian starts apologizing, saying he should have been way more careful around his brother. Our hero cuts him off, telling him there is no need to apologize because his brother literally did nothing wrong. He remembers that even a soul as kind as Ronian died a tragic death fighting on the front lines. Now, watch closely, this is where their bond finally starts to heal. Logan grabs his brother's shoulders and gives him a tearful hug. Ronian asks why he is crying, but since he gets no response, he just hums softly to our hero and says he will visit again. Logan tells him goodbye with a warm smile. Looking out the window, he realizes this might actually be real life. If he really has traveled back in time, he vows to change everything so his family does not face ruin again. Suddenly, Rick shouts for the young master. Logan turns around to see a maid bowing and apologizing profusely. He asks what is wrong. Rick explains that Maria accidentally disturbed his rest and he should have warned her. Rick mentions she just entered the wrong room. Logan remembers that, in this life, he was a total nightmare to work for. He tells Rick that Maria did nothing wrong and simply asks him to bring some paper and a pen immediately. The servants are shocked, thinking he is planning something cruel. Logan just repeats himself, just bring the paper and pen. Rick sets the items on the table. Logan thanks him and asks for complete privacy so he can think. Rick is totally stunned that Logan actually said thank you, wondering if the young master still has a severe headache. Main character insists he is fine and tells Rick to get out. Man, this reputation is hard to shake. Rick leaves, thinking Logan must be okay since he is back to yelling and telling everyone to get back to work. Sitting there, Logan realizes he has to be patient. All this fear is just the result of his own past actions. Think about it, what would you do if you knew the future? Logan starts documenting every disaster that is coming. A massive war 10 years from now will destroy his family and the entire country if he does not act fast. Stopping that is the ultimate goal. But first, he has to deal with the feudal war happening in just 1 year. That conflict came out of nowhere and nearly wiped them out. Logan knows he has to stop that incident first. Elsewhere, a servant informs the head of the family that the young master has arrived to see him. While the patriarch wonders what Logan wants, our hero walks down the hall, causing a total panic among the staff. Maids scurry away at the sight of him. One poor girl carrying a huge stack of sheets drops them all. Laundry falls right at his feet. She freezes in terror, thinking her life is basically over. Just as she is losing hope, a gentle hand reaches out to help. She says she is okay, but she is still trembling. Logan assures her it is fine, but the maid just throws herself onto the floor in a panic. She begs for forgiveness, screaming that she has committed a grave sin. Logan honestly does not know what to do. In his mind, he realizes it is definitely weird for a person to change this drastically overnight. Servants just need time to adjust. Eventually, he will show them that he really is a different man now. He looks in the mirror and smiles. It is time. Back to the servant informing the patriarch about his son. Logan stands nervously at the door. He remembers the day his father said he was no longer his son. When he was kicked out, he thought his father had a heart of ice and had given up on him. Even after the duel, his father never visited. Logan finally realizes how foolish he was to judge him like that. So, what do you and I think? Can he really save his family? Let's find out together. Alright, stick with me. You're about to witness how a total failure starts his journey to becoming a literal god. With a face that looks like he is about to break down, Logan feels a massive wave of regret for his past. His father admits Logan is doing better than expected and asks what he wants. Our hero is caught off guard because the patriarch is still icy. Logan realizes 20 years pass for him, but his dad sees the same son every day. He finally asks to do isolated training on family lands. In his mind, winning the war requires serious preparation and strength. He needs to buff the entire territory knight ranks, soldiers, and gear. Everything has to be top tier for them to survive. Better weapons and training cost a fortune though. To make it happen, Logan needs a massive amount of money right now. See, the McLain family are basically the kingdom's beggars. They are broke, but Logan knows a way to strike it rich. There is a specific incident happening in 3 months. If he plays it right, he will make a year's budget instantly. But to pull it off, his skills must be perfect. His dad asks if he is just running from his brother. Logan tells him it is not that. He is just finally realizing how much of a loser he has been lately. He is trying to make up for lost time. His father wonders if Logan is finally starting to live in reality. Our hero admits his past behavior was trash. He's not making excuses anymore. And pay attention because this part matters. The patriarch is tired of hearing the same stories and tells him to leave. But Logan is not quitting that easily. He explains that instead of facing his own failures, he just lashed out at others like a total immature brat. He calls his past self foolish and immature. This training is about more than power, it is about growing up for real. He asks for permission one more time. His father sees he is serious and asks how long he plans to train. Logan says 3 months is enough. His dad asks if he really thinks he can catch up to Ronian that fast. Logan does not hesitate. He is not doing this to beat his brother, he just wants to give his absolute best. His father notices the change in him and finally grants permission. Logan can train on the family lands after all. Logan thanks him and heads for the door, but his dad calls out one last thing. It is actually kind of sweet. He reminds Logan it is still spring and the nights get freezing, so he should be careful to stay warm out there. With a genuine smile, Logan heads out. Days later, we find our hero deep in the heart of a massive forest. Only McLain family members can enter this place. It is huge and absolutely perfect for some high-stakes solitary training. He has to keep his methods secret for now. He pulls out a book called The Secrets of the Divine Swords. In his past life, he memorized, then burned this to keep it away from the Empire. Talk about a legendary move. The original book had a golden falcon and held secrets from ancient heroes. You and I are seeing something truly special. The Dragon Slayers wrote this in a military code that was impossible to crack, but Logan knows the secret to unlocking it. He says if these visions are true, even the Empire's strongest grandmasters and mages will not be a threat anymore. Before he returned, he was too old and untalented. But now, he has a brand new chance to do it right. He starts by using the Divine Sword Foundation to move energy toward his heart. He is trying to create a core. For anyone else, this would be an impossible nightmare. His past self definitely would have crumbled at this stage. But since he returned to the past, his body is built different. He is stronger and faster in every single aspect. He expected it to take 3 days of non-stop work, but his core formed before he even realized it. Simply incredible. As the core takes shape, a massive wave of energy explodes, and his body starts soaking it all up instantly. To test his new strength, Logan draws his sword and lets out a strike with insane force and pinpoint precision. Technique is legit. Everything is shifted, allowing him to use a blade the way it was always meant to be. He is baffled that his core formed in under 10 seconds. At this rate, he will be an absolute beast very soon. Logan commits to training all day and night. 1 month later, we find him on the last day of his intense session. Out of 10 techniques, he mastered 1 the time space slash. It is exactly what it sounds like. It cuts through reality itself. He readies the strike. He notes that mastering this was only possible because he finally has a 1-star core. Logan executes the move with perfect skill. He is determined to succeed no matter what it takes to get there. He unleashes the attack on a tree and watches it completely shatter. His face lights up with pure, unadulterated joy. He laughs, realizing this power is totally off the charts. Beginners should not be able to pull this off at all. Even though he is totally drained, this is going to be one hell of a trump card. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. Alright, stick with me as Logan heads home to show off his massive gains, but finds a rude guard blocking his path. He is told the patriarch is busy. Logan is confused. Is his father sick? But the guard just gives him a cold stare. Apparently, even family needs an appointment now. The guard asks if the young master somehow forgot the basic house rules. Rick wants to bail, calling it royal protocol, but our hero knows better. 3 months ago, he walked right in without issues. The guard just smirks, claiming the previous shift must have been slacking off. The disrespect is already off the charts here. Logan is thinking this definitely did not happen in his past life. Something has changed, and not for the better. Suddenly, his enhanced hearing picks up voices inside. His new technique is already paying off in ways he did not expect. The knights inside are trash-talking him, calling him a coward who fled after losing to his own little brother. His reputation is absolute zero. Even the lowest soldiers think he is a joke now. It is honestly just painful to watch. The guard tells him to beat it and come back later with paperwork. Logan is annoyed. Time for a status update. He calmly asks for the guard's name. Confused, the man spits out his name, Dominant. Big name for a small fry. Logan lists his crimes, using dead rules to block him and acting like he owns the place. The tension is rising. Dominant thinks the kid is just throwing a tantrum. He has no idea who he is actually dealing with right now. To pay for this humiliation, Logan decides it is time for a lesson. He is not just talking, he is about to act. Bam! He slaps the guard across the face with his glove, challenging this extra to a formal duel right then and there. The knights are stunned. Dominant is frozen, unable to process that he has just been called out by the coward prince. Logan mocks him, asking if the tough guard is suddenly too scared to fight. He really knows how to poke the bear. Now pay attention, because Dominant just snapped and accepted the duel. This is where things get really interesting. Everyone thinks Logan has lost his mind. They are convinced he has zero chance of actually walking away with a win. They bring up his loss to Ronian, betting on how many seconds he will last. The disrespect is honestly just sad. Our hero is low-key annoyed that everyone thinks he is a loser. A knight tells him to try not to get hurt. Logan just stares. He knows Dominant is only brave when he thinks no one is watching. He is just a total fraud. In front of the other knights, the guard is acting all professional. But Logan sees right through his pathetic act. Rick is watching from the sidelines, sweating bullets. He cannot believe his master is actually going through with this fight. The duel is officially called. For safety or so, they say they are sticking to wooden training swords today. Dominant smirks, thinking the kid is just being a stubborn brat. He is ready to end this quickly and painfully. Wooden swords will not stop a real knight. For a power type like him, a piece of wood is still a lethal weapon. If he breaks a few of the young master's bones, well, that is just part of the training. No big deal. The fight starts, and Dominant immediately flares his mana core. The guards are shocked he is going all out so fast. He is not holding back at all. Using this much power against a human is basically attempted murder. Talk about overkill. You and I both know this feels like cheating, but Logan? He's just standing there, looking completely unbothered. He notices the guard's mana is leaking everywhere. The guy cannot even control his own power. What a total amateur. To tilt him, Logan asks if he is feeling nervous. The guard's face turns red, he is losing his cool fast. Dominant snaps and charges with everything he has got. The crowd is screaming for him to take it easy on the kid. He yells about his secret technique, but Logan does not even flinch. He is just watching the move play out slowly. One smooth dodge, one quick counter, and boom. The knight is eating dirt before he even knew what happened. Logan mocks him for losing so pathetically. The audience is stunned. How did the coward kid move like that? They realize he's a mana core user too. Logan strikes a pose and asks the referee for a round 2. The ref checks if Dominant is alive while the guard sits there in total shock. Is he really this weak? He tries a dirty sneak attack, but Logan is not having it. With a bored expression, he prepares to end this. Logan delivers a heavy strike that sends the guard flying across the arena. He is down for the count again. He points out that he gave him a second chance, but maybe the guy should just retire and find a new hobby. Just as Dominant is about to quit, Logan hits him again. He is done being nice to a subordinate who dared to defy him. It is time for punishment. Without a shred of mercy, our hero starts raining down blows on the terrified guard. You and I are witnessing a whole new Logan today. Everyone is wondering, is this really the same kid from before? All right, you and I are about to see how a spoiled young master turns into a monster in 3 months. His skills have also improved massively. It is as if he has been training for decades. After the duel, the referee announces the winner is Logan McLain. The winner is Logan McLain. Back in the office, his father admits that the main character's performance was really quite impressive, asking what exactly happened during his training to cause such a change. Logan says he just abandoned his ego and left everything behind. While training with that cold mentality, he felt the core finally forming inside him. In his own mind, he knows it sounds like a total lie, but in his past life, when he lost everything to avenge his family, he eventually obtained his core. That only happened when he was 40 years old. His father says he understands Logan and agrees that the main character has indeed changed. But why was the first thing he did challenging a knight? Logan doesn't flinch. He says the guy deserved it and asks his dad about the rumors the knights are spreading. The patriarch knew about the trash talk, but wonders if Logan had to be so brutal without any courtesy. Logan says it was absolutely required. His father is totally stunned by the answer. The protagonist explains that the man was trying to ruin the patriarch's reputation and was making jokes about him. If left alone, it would have poisoned the family discipline forever. He adds that hierarchy is what keeps a group alive. When that hierarchy is gone, the whole organization just falls apart. Our hero remembers his 10 years as a mercenary and knows that, now watch this closely, when it comes to armed men, you have to dominate them instantly. Today's events serve as a brutal lesson for the knights. The father admits Dominic was totally at fault for forgetting his place and trying to play Logan, but it was still a huge risk. So, he asks the protagonist to try and stay calm for a while. Our hero is surprised his father is being this chill. He asks if he is getting punished or what. Patriarch warns him not to get a big head. He must never pull a stunt like that again without permission, since he hasn't even received his official rank yet. Logan says he will remember that. His father adds the fiancée is visiting. Logan is stunned that she is finally showing up, his massive cash cow. Her name is Princess Rena. We see the princess arriving at the castle, and every single person is floored by her beauty. A guard thinks the young master is the luckiest guy alive. Rena introduces herself to the patriarch, who sees she's a lady. Rick is waiting there too, thinking she has become unbelievably gorgeous since they last met. But looking at our main character, he notices that Logan looks completely bored. Most guys would be losing their minds, but Logan just looks tired. You and I both know something is weird. Why is he so cold? Look, she is pulling out a letter from her father and starts reading. 30 minutes later, the guards are complaining that the letter is just way too long. Finally, Rina announces that due to some unavoidable issues, they are calling off the engagement set up by the patriarch. A heavy silence fills the room. Logan realizes the real message is simple. The Count doesn't want his girl marrying a failure. Looking absolutely furious, the family patriarch says that dumping them without a valid reason is a massive insult. Rina says that isn't the case and explains she came in person just to make sure there weren't any bad misunderstandings. She mentions childhood memories of visiting the McLain home, memories she shared with Logan in this beautiful place. Those precious times will always stay with her. However, she's bound to her family duty and came here to apologize. The maids think she is an angel, but Logan's face looks completely different from everyone else in the room. Suddenly, the woman next to the patriarch steps up. She asks Rina why she is really breaking this engagement. This is Mary, Logan's stepmother. She usually sees him as a rival for the throne, so Logan thought she would stay. Quiet, but family honor is different. Rina just apologizes, saying she does not know the full reason herself. Mary keeps pushing, asking how she can be so clueless about her own wedding. The princess sticks to her script. She says her father does not discuss big family business with her. Stepmother points out she is breaking a vow for no reason. She asks if they should just accept this disrespect. Rina then mentions House Wolf will pay 3 million gold as compensation, which absolutely shocks the financial manager since that is a massive fortune. Logan is hyped because he just needs to grab that sweet cash for himself. But the patriarch is reaching his boiling point and he is about to explode. How dare they? He lets out a massive roar of anger. His overwhelming pressure makes everyone in the room tremble. The air gets heavy as his fury explodes. This is not about money anymore. It is about the family's pride. And trust me, you and I do not want to be in that room when the patriarch finally loses it. All right, you and I are jumping into the middle of a massive family standoff. Rina's maid steps up while the Wolves' Knight tries to de-escalate things. The patriarch eyes the knight, realizing this young guy is already a high rank. It's impressive for his age, but the atmosphere is still suffocating. He tells them straight up crippling a rising star from House Wolves seems like a fair trade for the shame they brought on House McLain. The knight stays cool, mentioning his own patriarch respects Logan's father as a man of honor who wouldn't just bully a young princess. Rina adds that she doesn't want to buy her honor with money. She asks him to accept the gold as a gesture between the two families. In the patriarch's head, he knows if he insists on fighting, he'll look like a man without honor, exactly what Kieran Wolves wants. So he tells them guests are guests, and House McLain doesn't harass them. He'll accept the offer in exchange for ending the engagement. He wants Rina to apologize to his son and refuses any other bribes. The guards are totally impressed by the patriarch's incredible level of nobility. But then, Logan calls out to his father. He says since he is the one actually involved in the marriage, he has a request. Logan explains that he has a request, asking his father to please listen. Our hero knows he has to get this money at all costs. Without any politeness, he explains that half their funding comes from his stepmother's family. If that's cut off, the entire house goes completely bankrupt. Now pay attention, because here's where our hero's plan kicks in. He knows they absolutely need that money, no matter what it takes. Forget pride, talking about honor is foolish right now. You must get those 3 million gold coins no matter what happens to us. Logan tells his father he wants to accept the terms. His father is outraged, asking if his son really wants him to break his word. Our hero feels the pressure, but he doesn't blink. He basically explains that having the money is way more important than his life right now. His father declares that House McLain isn't so poor that it would abandon honor for money. He is absolutely furious at the suggestion. Logan takes a deep breath and says it right to his father's face. We are extremely poor. Like, really, really broke, Dad. Just listen. He says they owe over 3 million to the bank, and the interest is a nightmare. Without help, they would be bankrupt right now. He keeps going, calling them the poorest family in the kingdom. Everyone is totally shocked by the protagonist's words. It's a massive reality check. Logan claims taking the gold isn't about greed. His father asks if it's about honor then. Logan says House Wolves is way too powerful. He's worried rumors will spread about them just rolling over. Rina insists her house isn't irrational or disrespectful at all and honors House McLain. See, in his past life, he actually thought she was sad about this. But you and I are about to see her true colors. Back then, she called him to her room, pretending she wanted one last memory together before they parted ways for good. Pure lies. Old Logan was a mess. Since he'd lost everything, running away with the woman he loved seemed like the only good option left. He suggested they elope, but she immediately turned on him. She threw a knife at his face. Talk about a bad breakup. He barely managed to defend himself with his sword. Then, she sneered at him, telling him he was never actually a good match. He told him to know his place and just disappear. She even mocked him for losing to a child earlier. She's completely cold-blooded. Logan asked what was going on. That's when she screamed, acting like he was attacking her out of nowhere. It was a total trap. Her guards burst in, and she lied through her teeth, claiming he'd gone aggressive. He tried to explain, but his reputation was already trash. His family paid a fortune as compensation because of her lies. She really destroyed his entire life in that original timeline. He vowed never to trust another woman again. He's positive she's plotting something now, too, but this time, he's ready for her dirty games. Logan knows she won't get away with it again. At first, he wanted to slowly fix his reputation so the whole family would change. But that fight with Dominan proved the soldiers don't care. Rumors about him were spreading like wildfire while he was gone. Gaining recognition would take too long. With only 9 months until the regional war, his popularity doesn't matter. He just needs that gold. Out loud, he tells the princess he'll take the 3 million gold. Rena is stunned, and his father is absolutely livid at the defiance. Logan says hollow apologies aren't enough. If honor can be bought with words that just vanish, then those words don't have any value. He won't let her win this time. He's taking the money, ending the deal, and making sure House McLain doesn't sink into ruin. At first, our hero thought about changing his reputation slowly, believing that if they saw him change, the whole family would follow along. But his fight with Dominan made him realize the soldiers turned a blind eye to disrespect, and rumors spread while he was away. Logan wanted to transform the family by gaining recognition, but with only 9 months left until the war, his reputation no longer mattered. He needed results, not fans. Out loud, he tells the princess that he will accept the 3 million gold coins after all. Rena is totally startled. His father snaps at him, demanding to know how he dares to defy his wishes like this in public. Logan says he won't be satisfied with empty apologies. If honor can be settled with words that just disappear, it's totally worthless. If honor can be bought with words that just vanish into thin air, then that honor is as light as those words. The princess says they will follow the patriarch's wishes. Trust me, you and I need to see what he does next. You and I are about to see Logan make a choice that leaves everyone in the room completely speechless. Rena is acting like she is saving face, but she is really just terrified of losing those 3 million gold coins. Patriarch is ready to settle for a simple apology, but he leaves the final call to his son Logan. Tension fills the room as his father warns him trading honor for cash is a dangerous door to open. Logan does not blink, stating that since he is the one affected, he is taking the cash from the Wolf family. His stepmother is shocked while Rena just stands there, totally lost. His father sighs, thinking Logan has gone from bad to worse by choosing gold over the family name. He blames himself for not teaching his son the true value of pride in a world like this. Logan feels the weight of his father's disappointment, but he knows this is the only way to save them. Later, Logan finally eyes the gold 3 million as a massive haul, but he cannot get too excited yet. A knock comes at the door. He thinks it is Rick, but instead, it is Dwayne, the family top money manager. Logan sees right through him that polite smile is definitely not meant to be a friendly greeting. Inside, Dwayne is sweating. He has been trying to keep this estate afloat on a budget that is basically zero. The guards are complaining about supplies, and the soldiers desperately need new weapons to actually fight. Dwayne has been reduced to begging relatives for spare change just to keep the lights on around here. He feels less like a manager and more like a professional beggar, wishing he could just quit already. But now, this massive pile of gold is his ticket to a comfortable life for a few years. Stick with me because Dwayne is about to try and trick Logan out of his hard-earned fortune. Dwayne starts the act, showering Logan with praise for standing his ground against the Wolf family so boldly. He calls Logan's new aura truly impressive and exactly what the heir of a great house should look like. He waits for Logan to melt, assuming the kid has never heard a single nice word in his life. Logan just cuts to the chase, noting that 3 million gold is like a miracle during this massive drought. Dwayne is relieved that the family can finally breathe, but Logan's expression stays as cold as ice. He asks why the family would be relieved. After all, every single coin belongs to him personally. I know what you are thinking. Is Logan really going to keep all that money for himself? Let's see. Dwayne tells him to be patient, reminding him he has been managing the McLain money for 20 long years. He's had to humiliate himself for every cent. Logan asks if the situation is really that desperate. Seizing the chance, Dwayne explains they owe 3 million to Cooper Bank with massive annual interest rates. Logan finishes his sentence, it is 150,000. He knows the harvest should cover that. Dwayne argues that running a barony is expensive and the budget is always tight, practically begging for help. Logan gives a flat no. Dwayne is baffled, thinking Logan took the gold to save the estate. Logan explains he will use the money for the family, but not on their current, useless expenses. The deadly serious look, he says you have to think about the future, not just today. Dwayne still does not get it and just wants Logan to hand over the bags of gold right now. Logan asks what actually changes if he pays the debt. Dwayne says they will have some breathing room. It would make management easier for a few years, but Logan knows that is just a temporary band-aid. He points out they will just end up in debt again without a real plan. It is a vicious cycle. He is breaking that cycle by using the gold for his own secret plan to rebuild the house. Dwayne is stunned. Is this really the same lazy kid he used to know? He is actually thinking ahead. Logan offers a deal if Dwayne helps him with a request. He will cover the family's basic costs. Dwayne is hooked. The request? Logan needs him to start gathering a squad of elite mercenaries. Soon after, Logan is geared up in armor. Rick is panicked, asking if he is really leaving already. Logan confirms he is going out to make more money. Rick points out he already has $3 million. Logan says he needs way more than that. Rick warns that the patriarch definitely won't allow this departure. And that is where we leave it. Trust me, this journey is just getting started. Alright, stick with me, as Logan ditches his trash reputation to build a secret empire from the ground up because right now, he needs power more than fame. Luckily, our main character knows these streets like the back of his hand since he spent his past life wandering around as a total outcast. Rick is losing his mind, shouting and demanding to know what the heck his older brother is actually planning to do at his age. Running away now? Logan just laughs it off, while his brother literally flops onto the floor in a dramatic, childish tantrum. Rick jokes that if he leaves, he will just trample him. Our hero actually pretends to step on him right back, classic sibling energy. Logan tells him to chill because he is leaving a note for their father to make sure Rick does not get any of the blame. Logan just gives him a creepy, sinister smirk. Later, their father reads the letter content inside the patriarch office. The letter says he is heartbroken over the canceled engagement and needs to clear his head. Signed, Logan. Rick quietly hopes his brother comes back soon, while Logan starts reflecting on the messy history of their family bloodline. He explains that 200 years ago, the McLain family was in a completely different league. They held vast lands and massive power back then. Their massive counties stretched from neighboring Tess all the way to Sylvan and Pina, reaching across the entire region. They ruled the Bios Plains as the lords of southeastern Grandia. But thanks to the current patriarch and 3 generations of failure, their ancestors watched as their noble title was downgraded and their territory was slowly reduced to absolutely nothing. Their massive grain storage, the McLain Plains, was eventually handed over to their strongest vassal as a reward. All that fertile land was carved up, and the family was shoved into the dry southern mountains. There were 0 regional products or copper mines. Even winning a local war would not stop them from relying on Kairos to break the debt cycle. Breaking that cycle requires a massive amount of cash, much more than 3 million gold. Now pay attention, because Logan is about to find the one man who can bankroll his entire future in the city of Kale. Inside the bustling city of Kale, Logan watches the merchants while pulling a specific letter out of his pocket. He is tracking down Philip Claude, the legendary gold lover. The Ares Empire is a powerhouse nation where talent is the only thing that matters. The Ares Empire is a powerhouse nation built on a merit system. As long as you have real talent, your age or gender does not matter. You can reach the peak of power and wealth here. And get this, that right even applies to foreigners who are not citizens. One perfect example is Philip Claude from the Kingdom of Grandia. This guy is currently one of the wealthiest merchants around. He is one of the wealthiest merchants driving the entire economy, known across the continent as the ultimate war merchant. People call him a traitor to Grandia, but in reality, he is a gold lover who would risk everything to support his true homeland. He would use his own money to create a miracle for the sovereign rule of Grandia. But right now, he looks like a total beggar. He is crying about being scammed by his partners, wondering how he is even going to survive another day on the streets. You saw that too, right? This future trade legend is currently a broken mess after being scammed by his own partners. Without wasting a second, our hero walks up and asks the man directly if he is indeed Philip Claude. He confirms it, then stares at Logan, noticing his intense red hair and piercing eyes. Logan is relieved and asks to talk, but Philip is immediately suspicious of this stranger. He wonders who this kid is and how he even knows his name in the first place. Philip sees a familiar look in Logan's eyes, the look of pure greed. Once again, the businessman observes every detail of the protagonist. He notices the ancient, beat-up armor and immediately assumes Logan is just some mercenary thug looking for a fight. As Logan tries to introduce himself, Philip loses it, shouting that payday is not here and the property money is still days away. He tells him to come back in 3 days, screaming that he has not been paid yet. Guy is totally exhausted after his outburst while our hero just watches him with pure disdain. Logan explains he is not here to take money, he is actually here to invest in him. Philip thinks he is insane. Why would anyone ever invest in a failure like him? But then he wonders if Logan is serious and asks how much he actually intends to invest. Logan asks what he needs, promising to cover all his debts plus a healthy profit. Philip notices the armor is totally filthy, clearly coming from far away, but then he spots that McLain crest. Undeterred, Logan repeats his massive offer. Philip points his finger, telling Logan he should have picked a better lie to tell if he wanted to trick him. He claims Logan is no investor because that crest belongs to a house of beggars. He screams that no McLain could ever be an investor because they are all just beggars. But trust me, you and I are going to love Logan's response. Alright, you and I are jumping into a story where Philip wants to invest despite his debt. See, if Logan gets caught faking his nobility, it is game over. Philip thinks he picked the wrong guy. Logan realizes that even at rock bottom, this guy is sharp. but Philip just keeps complaining about being broke. He literally does not have a penny to his name. Logan finally shows off his skills, and Philip freezes. He realizes a young genius, like Logan, would never bother lying. Suddenly, he is all apologies for being rude. He asks what kind of business Logan has. Our hero calmly says he wants to hire him permanently. Paying off those debts? That is just a small bonus. But Philip knows House McLain is basically broke now. Logan just opens his bag to reveal piles of gold. To Philip, Logan suddenly looks like a shining angel. Moments later, Philip is signing a blood contract. The witch warns that betraying his master will cause soul-shattering pain. If he wants out, he has to awaken his core or hire a level 4 mage, which is impossible. It would cost way more money than our hero even has. Basically, Philip is stuck with him for now. Now, here is where things get real. Logan bought this expensive contract to lock him in as a slave. Logan explains that you cannot build trust on day one. Once they prove themselves, they will trash the contract. He reaches out his hand, asking to be partners. Philip admits this whole setup is messy, but he is in. There are zero details or conditions, but Philip has no choice. He has to trust our hero for now. He asks for his first task. Logan tells him the first thing they need to buy is monster meat. Philip is so confused that his brain stops working. Logan gets it, since most people think monster meat is trash. Monsters are usually just burned because their meat is poisonous. But in a few years, the world will change. People will discover how to neutralize the poison. Once they start eating it, they will realize something absolutely crazy. This monster meat works like natural Viagra. Men with issues down there found themselves fully cured after eating it. Once the Magic Tower confirms this discovery, the price of this meat is going to explode across the entire continent. The whole species will vanish just because it helps with virility. It is going to be impossible to find. Trust me on this one, Logan is about to turn 3 million into over 100 million very soon. Philip looks at him like he is insane. He is genuinely wondering if he should just pack up and run. Logan is dropping 1 million on meat. They start talking about moving the cargo across the land. Logan wants to hire an entire mercenary guild for the hunt. Philip thinks the plan is good, but suggests merchants. He says they should hit up the merchant guild instead. They will sell anything for cash and supply every scrap. It is faster and cheaper since this meat is currently worthless. They will take any price to move it. Logan calls him a genius. He never thought of that shortcut. This kid is really a pro. Philip tells him to forget about money problems from now on. He will handle every single coin for them. Logan asks for one more favor. He needs Philip to start buying specific items in massive quantities right away. He hands over a list of obsidian blades. Philip looks at the note with total confusion on his face. Logan cannot reveal these are for war. These exact weapons were used by the Empire during the last major invasion. In the right hands, even a basic soldier can use these to take down a high-ranking knight easily. Before the fighting starts, Logan has Dwayne hiring mercenaries. Giving them these weapons will give them a massive advantage. Once the soldiers are armed with obsidian steel, the enemies will not know what hit them. Victory is basically guaranteed. Now he needs specialists to forge the gear and a top-tier instructor to train all the new mercenaries. 2 days later, Logan finds Kaysen in the city of Kuran. He asks this A-rank mercenary to be an instructor. Kaysen says he has never trained people before. He seems pretty unsure about the whole thing. Logan tells him it is easy. He just needs to whip the new C-rank mercenaries into shape for him. Kaysen says he has only taught some basic moves to kids. He has no idea how Logan even found him. He suggests hiring a real specialist. But Logan knows the truth from his past life. They worked together before. Kaysen is actually a master of every weapon and an expert in heavy cavalry combat. His real talent is teaching. In the past, the battalion he trained was far superior to any other squad. So, will Logan convince this legend? You and I will find out next time. Alright, you and I are about to watch our main character hunt for some serious talent. Logan offers 4,000 gold monthly, but the guy insists that 2,000 is the absolute maximum salary. Logan literally tries to pay double, but Kaysen still says no since he has zero teaching experience. The offer jumps to 6,000, but the man says he would way rather be out on combat missions. Now it is 7,000. Kaysen is fuming. He punches a wall and asks if Logan is even listening. Does he think money solves everything? Logan drops 8,000 gold, and suddenly, the man is ready to work. As they chat, Kaysen asks if our hero is actually from the famous House McLain. Logan is curious too, asking if it is weird to be hiring mercenaries out in such a remote area. As long as the pay is good, Kaysen does not care. Suddenly, someone nearby shouts for them to move. They spot a group of slaves being moved. Kaysen mentions that Logan probably knows Hiram is basically Mercenary City. It only gets worse the deeper they go. From this point on, they are entering the slave markets. Logan knew what to expect, but seeing it in person is still rough. Dealers immediately start swarming them. They try to sell him on some slaves, but one death stare from Kaysen has the merchant trembling in fear. Now pay attention, because Logan spots a heavily guarded tent, and trust me, this is exactly what we need. An old man approaches asking if Logan knows where he is. Logan just nods and says he wants a dwarf. Inside the tent, they find elves with hollow eyes, looking filthy and completely broken by their dark reality. The old man brags about how hard it was to catch these elf women and asks if Logan has met one. Logan ignores the chatter and points straight to a dwarf. This one actually looks like he's in better shape. Merchant claims dwarves are versatile, but this specific guy is one of those rare, high-tier craftsmen. Apparently, these craftsmen come from a lineage that has been forging and upgrading items since they were children. Crafting is their entire life. This dwarf is the best of the best. Logan just asks for the price. The old man wants 250,000 gold, but offers a discount down to 200,000 instead. Logan stays calm and asks if the old man thinks he is some kind of idiot. The merchant is baffled. In minutes, Logan negotiates the price down to 50,000 gold. That is a massive 150,000 gold discount. Dwarf grumbles about how greedy humans are. Logan just replies that greed is the heart of business. The little guy asks where they are headed. Logan tells him they are going to the southeast McLain region. He will be crafting gear for Logan there. But the dwarf sounds bored, asking if that is all he has to do. Logan promises that if he works hard for 20 years, he will be returned safely back to his mountain home. 20 years is nothing to a dwarf. The little guy gives a cute smile and says he is looking forward to it. Wait, look at this. A boy carrying an elf just sprints past Logan at a crazy high speed. Blonde guy kicks both kids down. Some old man with a bleeding arm is screaming at them like a maniac. He yells about their escape attempt while the girl, pinned under her brother, cries out for him to just run. Hazen says they are just slaves and not to worry. He tells Logan they should just keep on moving. Logan stares at the boy, noticing his unique features, one red eye, one blue eye, and striking blue hair. Then it hits him, this kid is Victor, the boy who will eventually become the legendary noble killer. Future Victor is a powerhouse magic user. He killed his master to escape, then came back 10 years later for blood. He wiped out the entire family, earning his dark nickname. But right now, he is just a helpless little boy. If Logan saves him now, he could have one of the world's strongest magic users on his side later. There is a catch. Victor is an obsessive, unstoppable killer who shows zero mercy to his enemies. As the blonde guy swings for another kick, Logan steps in, blocking the blow with his sword scabbard. The bald man wonders who is messing with his property, but he stops cold once he sees the armor. Recognizing the McLain crest, he backs off immediately, claiming Logan just arrived at a bad time for some discipline. He says he was just punishing disobedient slaves, but Logan interrupts and says he is buying both of them. He asks for the price. The bald man says it is 10,000 gold. Trust me, you and I know these kids are worth it. All right, you and I are about to see how this legend deals with a greedy slave trader. The price of a top-tier killer is at least 100,000 gold, but this bald fraud is clueless. He tells the old man that over 30% of these kids are literally about to drop dead. One kid looks like he is at death's door, but the bald guy keeps lying to our hero. Logan offers 500 gold, but the man keeps yapping, trying to squeeze even more money out of him. Our hero asks if he looks like an idiot, then flares his aura, scaring the absolute life out of him. Terrified, he sells both kids for 1,000 gold. Kellen hauls the injured boy up onto his back. While his sister follows closely, the boy suddenly wakes up, his wounds seemingly healing at high speed. That is faster than expected. Secretly, Logan was pumping his own life force directly into the kid. It is way better than low-level holy magic, but get this, the little girl actually senses his energy. Now pay attention, because this little girl might be even more special than we first thought. Logan easily pins Victor by the neck, asking if he is actually brave or just a total fool. He tells the kid he has no idea what is going on, and Logan is not like his past masters. Fighting spirit is great, but choose your enemies wisely. Logan warns him that this is his final chance. If he follows orders, Logan promises that he and his sister will finally be safe and sound. But if he messes up again, not just Victor, but his sister will face a truly nightmare fate. Logan drops to his level and offers to train him as a knight. The boy looks totally stunned. He explains that being a knight means noble status, which is the fastest way to earn their freedom. His sister would be free too. Victor looks at her, knowing she deserves the best life possible. He has a shot at a real future now. The boy looks at our hero and shouts his acceptance. Logan realizes the sister is the leash for Victor's rage. It is time to start the real training. Training starts the moment they hit the McLain estate. First, Logan pulls the dwarf Hamar aside for a chat. In private, Logan brings out a magical contract, just like the one he used to bind Philip. It says after 20 years of service, the dwarf gets to return home to his mountain family. Hamar is absolutely hyped and signs it immediately, thanking Logan for being such a fair master. Logan watches the dwarf's spirit ignite. One simple contract just secured a master blacksmith for his cause. War prep is going perfectly, but there is one massive headache our hero did not see coming. You and I both know rumors move fast soon. Wild stories about Logan's behavior start flooding every corner of the city. His name is officially trashed. Meanwhile, his stepmother is already whispering poison into the patriarch's ear. Back at the McLain house, Rick shows up, greeting his young master with a fake, saintly expression. He asks why Logan did not think before leaving and demands to know what he was actually doing. Why stay out so long? He says the locals are calling the McLain prince some pretty insane names. They're calling him the legendary monster lover who blew 150,000 gold on meat. Philip actually started the rumors to grab merchant attention, not realizing Logan's rep was already in the gutter. Prince with a cancelled engagement who blackmailed his own fiancée? Yeah, people believe the worst of him. But against all odds, Philip was offering 1 gold per kilo. What merchant would ever pass that up? Who would say no to turning junk into pure profit? He urged everyone to bring in every monster. That is how the chaos started. Logan just laughs, but Rick is looking at him like he is crazy. Rick tells him to look at his friends' faces. This is no time to be laughing at the rumors. The patriarch is fuming. He asks Logan if he just used this as an excuse to run away. Our hero says it was more like a vacation. His father says the rumors sound absolutely ridiculous. Logan seems satisfied with the results, telling his dad that rumors are just words and nothing more. He feels no shame. But his stepmother tells the patriarch that the boy has no clue how bad this is. She warns that, if this keeps up, the entire McLain name will be dragged through the dirt forever. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see a family reputation go up in flames. Our hero tells his stepmother she's being way too hasty. He used the wedding funds however he wanted, and the old woman loses it. She demands to know if the patriarch is really going to let this happen. Suddenly, Logan's father roars for everyone to shut up. He wants some alone time with our main character to get some real answers. The stepmother tries to object, but the patriarch shuts her down. After a moment, he looks at Logan and asks what the hell is actually going on. He wonders why his son is acting so insane lately. It is time for a real talk, father to son, with no more secrets between them. The main character just says his father would not understand even if he explained. His dad respects his mind, but the rumors are getting pretty nasty. People say the young master is violent, cruel, and totally obsessed with money. Like he has completely lost his mind in the last few weeks. His father asks one final time how much longer he should keep protecting Logan. If there is a deadline, he needs to know it right now. He wants Logan to apologize and claim he did it all for his late mother. Our hero is shocked because his dad never even mentions her. It looks like the patriarch still has a glimmer of hope that she's out there somewhere. He has never given up on finding her. Logan asks for exactly 1 year to prove his actions were right. He just needs a bit of time. After that, he finally leaves the room. Now, stick with me. Here, the patriarch never expected those words from his son. This 1 year deadline is going to change everything. If Logan does not deliver in 12 months, a tough choice must be made. Before being a father, he is the Lord of House McLain. Holding a photo of Logan's mother, he apologizes for not knowing his son's heart. He has no clue what the main character is really planning. He promised to raise him right, but fears he has been too distant. Meanwhile, we cut to Logan, who is absolutely stunned by his brother. Young Ronan has already awakened his core. He says it was tough, but he managed to pull it off in the end. In his past life, Ronan did not wake his core until much later. Logan did not expect him to reach this level so early. His brother gives Logan all the credit, though. Apparently, the Knights were trying to keep the kid from seeing the main character at all. Logan is even more shocked that Ronan forced his core to awaken just to find him. The kid is an absolute monster in the making. Once his power is stable, Logan promises to teach him the Celestial Sword technique. With this start, he will be stronger than ever before. If he stays on this path, he will surpass his past self easily. Now we move to a rest house in southern McLain. Logan is meeting with Kellen to check on the C-class mercenaries he hired. They have got a pretty massive crowd waiting for them. 350 mercenaries are already bickering. They are looking at Logan and wondering if this kid is actually their big spending client. They think they have been scammed. No baron in his right mind would hire an entire mercenary guild like this unless he was totally crazy. Plus, the rumors about this noble kid are pretty trash. One bald guy even laughs that Logan is just wearing armor to look tough. He thinks he looks like a fake soldier. Big mistake. Logan hears the insult and repeats it right back to the guy's face. The mercenary is confused. How did Logan hear that from so far away? Logan tells him that superior skills allow him to hear everything. He asks what kind of skill a C-class fighter has to be so arrogant. Is the guy really that confident in his own weak abilities? The bald man clearly has some pride, but Logan is not impressed. He makes a bet that will change the mood real quick. If the mercenary can land even one hit, Logan will pay for a whole year of supplies. Now, that is a huge payout. Swearing on his honor with everyone watching, the bald man charges in. He is huge, and people wonder if he is actually B-class. He acts all smug and tells Logan to take the first shot. He really thinks he can tank whatever the kid throws. Logan asks if he is sure about that. The guy laughs it off, thinking a little punch could never actually hurt a man his size. You saw that too, right? In a flash, He gets clocked in the mouth and drops. Absolute silence from the entire crowd. One punch was all it took. Logan stands over him, stretches his arms, and asks who else wants a piece of him. Everyone is terrified. A kid this age with a core? Even Kellen is shocked. He knew Logan was special, but this is insane. Logan finally introduces himself. He knows everyone is dying to know why he hired so many swords for hire at once. He gathered them to train as a crossbow cavalry. The mercenaries start whispering immediately because the idea sounds completely ridiculous. They wonder who could even shoot a crossbow on a horse. Besides, the reload time for those things is way too slow for a real battle. Even Kellen warns him that crossbows are just not efficient for riders. But our main character has a very different plan in mind. He admits they have more power than bows, but a novice takes a whole minute to reload. You usually need a counterweight to do it, even with a horse. If you carry a few preloaded weapons, your firepower is gone in less than 60 seconds. It is a gamble. It might look like he is just burning cash, but Logan is confident. He knows exactly how to make this work. He tells Kellen to train them hard. This crossbow cavalry is going to become an overwhelming force that nobody can stop on the field. Trust me, you and I are about to watch this world change. This cavalry is going to be legendary. All right, you and I are back at the McLain house for Logan's next move. 312 passed out of 350. That is a solid success rate. Mar wonders what is going on. Logan shows off his top secret crossbow project. This weapon was Logan's go-to for decades. He is rebuilding it purely from memory. Mar is skilled. The dwarf lists every requirement for the build. It needs an auto-reload cartridge and must fire 3 bolts at once. Mar thinks the idea is ridiculous, but then he realizes Logan is actually a genius. The string might snap from continuous, heavy fire. Bulky box. How will Logan fix it? Logan suggests shrinking the bolts to make the cartridge smaller and fully disposable after one use. The cartridge will reload automatically after every single shot. From now on, they will call it a magazine. Pay attention here, this is where common sense gets totally shattered. A future weapon using only metal and string. How long will it take to build? Logan says to just quit if the task seems totally impossible. Hamar promises a masterpiece. Elsewhere, we see Victor running. It is young Victor. Logan is training him to the extreme, and the boy is clearly exhausted. 3 days in and Victor already looks different. Logan calls a break. Victor immediately collapses from exhaustion. His sister rushes over. A 14-year-old just crushed 20 kilometers. The boy clearly has talent. Logan loves his perseverance to keep fighting right until the very end. An assassin's nature is not always born, it is made. Victor's drive comes from protecting his sister. Time to learn the Grandia Kingdom fencing style. Watch closely as Logan demonstrates the kingdom's fencing. One swing creates wind. Victor is on the verge. Fatigue is a fair price for a comfortable bed, and Victor starts mimicking every move with precision. You and I saw it, he mimics the move perfectly on the first try. Better than Ronian. Now, Victor must build endurance. Do this 1,000 times perfectly to become a knight. Victor's eyes glow with excitement. The dream of becoming a knight is finally within his reach. Logan offers help through Rick, but the boy is proud. He says he does not need anything else. Just protect his sister. He is vital for war. These mercenaries will be a uniquely powerful force. Being too optimistic is dangerous. Hamar could fail the manufacturing and the mercenaries might not be ready. He must be cautiously optimistic about the future. Logan definitely needs a solid backup plan just in case. Logan confirms he wants to join night training. Sunny day at the McLain training field. Commander calls his soldiers to attention. Young Master Logan is joining the ranks. The soldiers are shocked that someone with his reputation is here. Cannot imagine Logan actually training alongside them. Hale feels the tension but chooses to stay silent. Hale remembers the orders to train Logan properly. Knights will be dissatisfied. The Patriarch responds. He refuses to give Logan special treatment. Using his authority, he gives the chief a direct order. The chief must treat Logan like any other fresh recruit and put him through absolute hell. Logan is still the son of the Lord. Trust me, Logan's intense training arc starts right here. Alright, you and I are about to see if Logan can actually survive a training week that would kill most knights. Hamill thinks he just found a golden ticket. He agrees instantly, planning to make this training a literal 3 times harder. Next thing we know, the knights are sprinting through the dense forest while carrying their heavy companions on their backs. When the complaints start, Hamill tells them to shut it. They ride horses, so they need to understand how horses feel. The captain explains this whole workout is to teach them what it is like for an animal carrying armored men into battle. It is basically horse cosplay, but with more sweating and heavy armor. The soldiers are definitely not vibing with this lesson. They start whispering, blaming Logan for this extra torture. They are convinced the young master will be the first one to quit. Everyone expects the heir of the McLain family to run away crying. But Logan, he is doing the exact opposite right now. He is running like a machine, not a single complaint as he carries a full-grown man on his back through the woods. In a flash, Logan kicks it into high gear and starts leading the entire pack like it is a light jog. Don't blink, Hanlo is losing his mind, because Logan is not just keeping up, he is actually leading the entire troop. The kid is actually smiling during this hellish training. Hanwha realizes at this rate, his own knights will drop before Logan does. Knowing he has lost this round, Hanley calls a sudden halt. He orders everyone to stop and take a break immediately. The knights collapse like sacks of potatoes. Meanwhile, Logan is actually bummed out because he wanted to keep the momentum going. Hanley walks over, probably hoping Logan is secretly dying inside. He asks the young master how he is holding up. The captain is basically begging for Logan to admit it is too heavy so he can finally end this madness and go home. But Logan just shrugs and says he is fine. Then he drops a line that probably makes Hanley want to cry for real. He calls the training excellent and says if the knights do this daily, they must be monsters. He is genuinely impressed with them. Then the boy says he is actually hyped for more. At this point, Hanley is just done. His plan is totally ruined. The captain practically gives up. Logan sees the weird reaction but just decides to ignore the guy and keep moving. At night, Logan is out in the forest alone. He is wondering if all the other knights have already hit the hay. Training is his backup plan if things go south, but he really wants to build some solid bonds with these knights. He knows meditation helps, but physical training is the real key. He needs his body to keep up with his power. This night training is exactly what he needs. He activates his internal power and feels something incredible happening inside him. Logan can literally see the changes now. All that hard work is finally starting to show some real results. With a grin, he grabs his sword. Thanks to his growing core strength, he barely even feels the fatigue anymore. He focuses all his energy into his blade. He takes a deep breath, concentrating every ounce of force he has. He draws the weapon with smooth, deadly ease. Even at just 1 star, his force core is already packing serious heat. If he hits 2 stars, he might actually match the strength of an advanced mage like Patrick. Now, that is scary. Now, pay attention, because Logan is about to show us exactly why you and I should never settle for mediocre gear. He demands to know where the repeating crossbow he asked for is. He has got a laundry list of complaints too. Hammer the dwarf is fuming. Seeing the fire in his eyes, Logan gives a quick apology for being so blunt. Hammer tells him not to disrespect a craftsman's pride, but Logan just plays dumb, leaning into the insults even more. He tells the dwarf that if this is his best work, then there is really nothing left to talk about here. He hits where it hurts, saying he cannot believe this is all Hammer has done after weeks of waiting for results. Logan says he expected way too much from him. Hammer is shaking with rage, nearly crushing the crossbow in his grip. The dwarf snaps. He vows to remake the weapon and show Logan a real masterpiece in just 1 month's time. He snaps the crossbow in half right there to show how mad he is. He is going back to the drawing board. As Hammer storms off, Logan's plan is working perfectly. The dwarf is motivated enough to start from scratch for him. With a sneaky look, Logan thinks that pushing Hammer to the edge will result in something truly legendary for their arsenal. 1 month later, Hammer presents the new project. He takes aim, and boom, 2 bolts hit the bullseye instantly. Hammer explains that while it is 1 less bolt than requested, it is light enough to be used with just 1 hand. Logan is floored. The reload time is under 5 seconds, which is absolutely insane for a weapon like this one. The range is smaller than his past life cavalry bows, but for this era, it is an absolute game changer. Trust me, you and I just witnessed the birth of a weapon that is going to change everything on the battlefield. Stick with me, we're about to see Logan turn a simple invention into a total game changer for his kingdom. They had months before the war, but the results were already incredible. Meanwhile, Hamar feels ignored and starts complaining. Hamar wants to know what he is thinking, so Logan suddenly grabs the dwarf in a giant hug. He keeps praising him until the grumpy blacksmith actually starts getting shy from all of a sudden positive recognition. With an extremely gentle look, Logan calls his name, making the blushing dwarf wonder why his master is being sweet. Then the mood shifts. Logan asks if he can churn out 400 of these deadly crossbows in just 2 months. Jump forward to Kazin testing the new gear. 1 shot completely pierces through a solid tree with terrifying power. Silence falls. The surrounding mercenaries are stunned because the range and rapid fire speed on this thing are just unreal. Shots flying far and fast. Kazin is reeling, unable to believe a front-loading crossbow could have this much force. He realizes that a squad of 300 mounted troops with these would be basically unstoppable on any open battlefield. Now pay attention, this is the moment Kazin realizes Logan's obsession with cavalry finally makes perfect sense. The man admits Logan is a genius. Now he finally understands why the young master was so obsessed with cavalry. Logan agrees about the crossbows, though he knows Hammer went through absolute hell to finish the prototype. Even with extra help, he never expected the dwarf to pull off the impossible and finish in 2 weeks. He wants to share this with the knights, but the risk of someone stealing the technology is way too high. So, he gives Kazin a direct order. Equip the mercenaries and go wipe out every monster in the territory. The redhead sees his vassal hesitating and asks if the mercenary thinks the task is impossible. Kazan feels the challenge and looks at the bolts embedded in the tree, saying it might be possible. Logan tells him to stop being pessimistic and just focus on making it a reality. He needs to make it happen, because if he fails now, all of this preparation will be totally in vain. The mercenary watches his master walk away, suspecting this weapon wasn't made for monsters, but for an upcoming war. Elsewhere, a soldier is stunned by someone having absolutely enormous stamina. Turns out our protagonist is carrying 2 full-grown companions on his back while running. The rest of the army is just staring, wondering how a teenager became this strong. You saw that too, right? Everyone is whispering about how Logan transformed himself after losing to his brother. What is even more shocking is how he has been crushing this training for a month. This hellish routine was meant to make him quit, but instead, it became a symbol of grit for the knights. It sparked a fire in the lower ranks. They were getting lazy, but Logan's hustle made them push harder. Because of this, the soldiers started bonding with their horses, treating them like true brothers. One knight being carried by a friend apologizes for eating way too much food the night before. His buddy just tells him to relax. He would carry him no matter how much he weighed. The final bonus was the brotherhood between the knights becoming stronger than ever. Hale is amazed. He only kept going because the young master never quit, but these results are insane. He looks at Logan with pure admiration, but suddenly, the boy feels a strange chill in his neck. It feels like someone is watching him. Logan wonders if he is just getting sick. As night falls, we see him meditating alone on his bed to clear his racing mind. He has been pushing his body to the limit, using meditation to stimulate his internal consciousness and power. Logan can feel a shift coming. If he can reach a new level of martial power, whether as a master or archmage, he could surpass every monster he remembers. The boy takes a deep breath, and his core begins to glow intensely. He starts chanting while his heart pumps like a drum, overflowing with raw energy. Power spills out across the room, spreading everywhere in a brilliant, golden flash. Suddenly, the messy core compresses itself into a perfectly smooth and stable sphere. Logan shouts with joy. His 2-star core is complete, giving him the foundation for next-level techniques. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to see how this broken technique could stop even a high-ranking knight. Next morning, the sun hits the plains as monsters roam the fields until the thunder of galloping horses fills the air. Beasts spot an army of humans charging and try to bolt. Kazan clenches his fist, finally giving the order. Immediately, the mercenaries shift into a specific formation to wipe these monsters out. They level their crossbows and lock in. After finding the perfect angle, they unleash on the undead. The creatures scramble, but the bolts find them easily. Several monsters are struck in the back and finished off instantly. Finally, they corner and crush every last beast. Even after this victory, Logan stays silent for a moment. The mercenaries are stunned by what they just accomplished together. Everyone is buzzing after such a clean sweep. The new weapon is a total game changer with practically zero recoil. Bridge #2 the tension builder. Now watch this. This new gear is way more lethal than anyone in this world expected. Logan analyzes his soldiers' progress, noting that over 100 monsters were deleted in less than 10 seconds. His men have practically mastered the new crossbow. He realizes all that hard work far from home was worth it. Kazan asks if his master is satisfied. Logan hints he is, since the group was a complete mess earlier. They've improved massively since the first hunt. The long-haired man stays silent, processing the incredible results. He asks why Logan is prepping so hard he's never seen mercenaries with this much firepower. Is he hunting continents? Before Logan can answer, a voice calls his name. A strange knight stumbles onto the scene, looking completely exhausted. Kazan asks, "What's wrong?" and the man gasps that Rick sent him. Our protagonist is confused by the sudden intrusion. He explains the emergency from yesterday. Viscount Tessin has officially declared war against the McLain family. It's finally happening. Logan is shocked. Through a crystal ball, Viscount Tessin appears, furious and screaming about an ancient family grudge. He's pinning everything on the McLain house. Watching the broadcast is Patrick, looking absolutely confused by the sudden aggression. Later, in the meeting room, nobles argue about the past. If Tessin is out for blood, what will Patrick do? Tessin's Knight Order dwarfs their own. Even if the Patriarch leads the charge, their chances are looking extremely slim. Bridge #3, the midpoint pivot. Chaos explodes as the nobles panic. You and I know this is when things get truly intense. Meanwhile, Patrick is irritated and slams his fist against the table. He roars at everyone to shut up immediately. Patrick states that royal power is fading. Tessin attacking without warning proves this entire move was fully planned. Because of this, he tells the peace talkers they're delusional. Now, they must prepare for war and find victory. The nobles are hesitant about the decision, but they cannot deny him. Someone asks if the sons will fight. Ronan's mother looks instantly worried at the thought. Marion turns to her husband, waiting for his final answer. Patrick is determined his sons will definitely go to war. Ronan's power has awakened and Logan is of age. They must do their part for the family. The nobles feel hope because the two are very promising knights. Rick is sweating because it's bad news. Logan is far away. He sprints out to warn his master immediately. This entire scene was just a flashback from the messenger. Logan stands there, silent but looking deeply troubled. According to his memories from his past life, this war shouldn't have started for another 2 months. The messenger urges him to hurry. Tessin ignored all tradition and is already marching his troops toward battle. There's no more time to think. Behind him, Kazan confirms the mercenary army is ready and the men agree. Logan is shocked by how ready they are. He asks Kazan why nobody seems surprised that a war started. Kazan just shrugs. Mercenaries are lovers of war. They are always prepared for a bloody battle like this one. They've got elite weapons in their hands and they're dying to test them out. Logan looks at his soldiers. He realizes their confidence is totally valid. Logan finally gives a small smile of relief, remembering their earlier massacre. The Tessin house ignored all tradition and is already marching. Hearing this, Logan McLain finally makes his move. There's no more time to think. Behind him, Kazan confirms the mercenary army is ready and every man is on board. Logan is shocked by how ready they are. He asks Kazan why nobody seems surprised that a war has begun. Kazan just shrugs. Mercenaries are lovers of war. They are always prepared for a call to arms like this. They've got elite weapons in their hands and they're dying to test them out. Logan observes his confident soldiers. Their confidence is totally valid. Logan gives a small smile of relief, remembering how they just massacred those monsters. Bridge #4 the closer. You and I just saw them delete a monster swarm. Now let's see what they do to an actual army. All right, you and I are about to see if a small family can survive an all-out war. Smiling, the young man says that they had enough combat power. At that moment, the McLain house was ready, and 314 elite troops were feeling absolutely confident. Logan's training made them sure of victory. But the narrator explains that the war began sooner than the McLains ever expected. One day after the declaration, Tesron's troops arrive. A soldier warns Patrick that the enemy army is massive. Tesron has over 1,100 regular soldiers ready to kill, and that is not even counting their new recruits. Patrick is stunned. He cannot believe the enemy has become this insane. He wonders how they gathered such a force. He realizes Tesron was not satisfied with just his regulars and dragged in every recruit he could find for this battle. Patrick is furious, wondering why Tesron is doing this. But the soldier has even more devastating news to share. He reports that House Kaios will not be sending any troops to help. Patrick freezes, panicking that there must be a mistake. This cannot be right. Lord Dwayne visited them many times, but the messenger insists there is no mistake, they are alone. Patrick starts to spiral, searching for any solution. He orders his soldiers to gather every man who can hold a sword. They will respond with full force or die trying. The narrator notes that their trusted allies, the Kaios, have officially betrayed them. Pay attention, their only hope just betrayed them. The Kaios turn their backs on Patrick, leaving the McLeans completely alone. They gather as many men as possible. They only have 53 knights and 552 regular troops for the battle. With over 4,000 recruits added, they have a total of 5,000 people for the fight. But the McLain army is shaking. Looking at Tesron's soldiers, everyone is terrified since they are not even half the size of the massive enemy army. Soldier asks his friend where Logan is. His buddy says the young master disappeared a long time ago. They whisper that he probably fled when he heard the news. They are sure the kid is just a coward. They claim he will never come back. Logan's brother overhears this and explodes in anger at his subordinates. My brother would never run. Ronian remembers the intense training he saw Logan doing just a short while ago. He tells the troops that his brother predicted this war. Logan knew exactly what was going to happen today. Ronian explains that Logan knew about the war. He even taught his brother a special technique to save their family. See a flashback where Logan teaches Ronian a secret technique, promising that they will save the entire family together. But despite his words, the soldiers ignore him. Rumors that Logan fled the scene continue to spread like wildfire. Patrick accepts the situation. He tells Ronian he must now take his brother's place on the field of battle. He tells his son never to hesitate. Deep down, Patrick refuses to believe the rumors that Logan ran away. But it does not matter now, they must win. Raising his massive lance, Patrick prepares to lead the charge. He orders his men to attack. The two armies crash into each other in a storm of steel and blood. The enemy smiles, glad Patrick finally drew his sword. He commands his knights to crush the patriarch immediately. Seeing dozens of soldiers rushing him, Patrick shows zero fear. He prepares to strike back with overwhelming force. Red aura begins to glow around his lance. Patrick knows he must break the vanguard to gain the advantage. He summons every ounce of his strength. He leaps with his horse, striking the shield of a regular soldier. He puts everything into this blow. But what happens next? You saw that too, right? This part is absolutely insane. An ordinary soldier just blocked a patriarch's full power strike. The man just smiles at Patrick's total shock. Elsewhere, a young man named Rick is caught in the chaos. He sees his friends get taken out. Everywhere he looks, people are begging for help. Rick starts to tremble, realizing they are losing this war. He thinks about how desperate the family has become. Things are going wrong, and the McLeans are definitely losing. Rick realizes the odds are stacked against them. He knows they were forced to send subordinates just like him. Suddenly, a blow strikes Rick's head, sending him down. An enemy knight charges in to finish the job. Suddenly, the knight is hit by a projectile. Another soldier saves Rick and tells him to get up now. Rick is thrilled to see an ally, but in that brief moment of hope, blood splatters across his face. The soldier who saved him collapses with an arrow in his neck. Rick screams and starts running in terror. He tries to get as far away from the enemies as possible, but the battlefield is a literal nightmare. He runs blindly through the chaos. All he can see is the blood of his fallen brothers and friends. He needs to get as far away as possible, but as he runs, he only sees the blood of his fallen comrades. Stick with me to see what happens next. All right, you and I are about to dive into a battle that looks absolutely hopeless for our heroes. Rick looked at the fallen bodies of his friends and realized they were surrounded by an army of cavalry. Death seemed inevitable for everyone there. Meanwhile, the perspective shifts back to the intense struggle Patrick was currently facing. Despite landing several heavy hits, the patriarch saw his opponent was barely scratched, making his anxiety spike even higher. The wounded soldier kept standing, proving he was a total monster who would not go down easily. He admitted Patrick lived up to the hype, though they had planned for this and were still struggling. Patrick was stunned. How could this unknown warrior take his strongest attacks and still be ready for more action? He never expected the Tessin family to have a high-ranking knight or such a powerful force on their side. Even worse, the 4 guys surrounding him were all at least intermediate-level knights as well. Lead Knight mocked him, asking if he was impressed by the preparations they made just for him. Patrick lowered his head while being surrounded, knowing his entire order of knights would be trapped if he failed here. He tossed his heavy lance to the ground and immediately drew his sword to continue the fight on foot. Watch closely here. This is the moment Patrick decides he is going down, swinging, charging forward with everything. His blade clashed against theirs, sending a powerful gust of wind through the entire battlefield from the impact. When the enemy knight finally slipped up, Patrick moved in for the kill, aiming for a finishing strike. But he had to pivot fast as another enemy warrior lunged at him with a sharp lance. The attack barely missed, and he realized he was trapped in a deadly pincer move from all sides. Patrick shouted about their lack of knightly pride, but they just laughed and treated him like a total joke. Their strongest fighter warned them to stay sharp, since Patrick was still a highly trained and dangerous knight. Tired of the games, Patrick leaped off his horse and charged one of his opponents with every ounce of strength. Another massive collision echoed across the field, but he did not see the second strike coming from his blind spot. Before McLain could react, the hit landed. The Lancer grinned, feeling like victory was finally in his grasp. He dodged the follow-up but was bleeding heavily from his stomach, his strength starting to fade fast. The plan was clear now. Use the high ranker as a wall while the others slowly chipped him away. Looking around, he saw his vanguard being crushed. The situation was looking absolutely grim for the McLain forces. Despite the blood, he did not back down. He held his wound and stood ready for one last stand. He thought of Logan, glad his son had fled, because there was zero chance of winning this fight. Facing certain death, he hoped his eldest son would at least survive to carry on the family name. Tessin watched the defeat from afar, feeling smug about his choice to hire such a top-tier knight. You saw that coming, right? That loud noise is about to change everything on this battlefield. Hammond was startled by a booming sound that could only mean one thing: a massive cavalry charge. A panicked soldier ran up, shouting that 300 enemy riders had suddenly appeared at their rear out of nowhere. Hammond was baffled. He was sure the McLain family did not have any elite troops left to spare. The knight mentioned something strange. These new enemies were not carrying lances, only small crossbows in their hands. The Viscount laughed, thinking those were just hunter tools that would not do anything against a real army. He ordered his own cavalry and archers to turn around and wipe those pathetic reinforcements off the map. Tessin agreed, dismissing them as useless soldiers who were just riding to their own certain deaths. Suddenly, flaming arrows slammed into the man talking to Tessin, and the Viscount's smug look instantly vanished. Suddenly, 300 riders were pointing lances right at him, with a very angry Logan leading the charge forward. Seeing the massacre of his family as soldiers, Logan was fueled by pure rage and ordered everyone to fire. Tessin could only stare in horror as hundreds of arrows blotted out the sun, heading straight for them. The Viscount's men were frozen as a rain of death descended on them. They could not believe this. Slaughter began instantly. Amidst the chaos, only a few managed to get their shields up in time. One young survivor stood trembling among the bodies, completely shocked by how fast his world had ended. And that is where we leave it. The tables have finally turned in the most brutal way possible. All right, you and I are about to see a counterattack where they draw their bows to strike back. But as they fire, they realize the distance is too far. Their arrows just drop short of the enemy. The opposing troops stare back with those weird crossbows. One soldier wonders how their bolts can fly so far. But before he can even think, a bolt slams right into his head. The archers are being picked off. The Viscount is sweating now, terrified of how his backline turned into a total graveyard in just 1 second. In a panic, he thinks they must be using magic. Just a few crossbows are dismantling his entire army. Still hungry for a win, Hammond orders his remaining men to bring in the cavalry and turn the tide. He raises his country's flag high, a signal for all the knights to charge. Every rider sees the command. The knights answer the call immediately. A massive wave of mounted soldiers rushes in to back their lord. Seeing his backup arrive, Hammond screams for all his troops to go all in and crush the enemy now. Now, watch this. Our main character is watching everything go down with a super creepy smile. He is loving this. His enemies are walking straight into his trap like complete idiots. Elsewhere, swords clash. Main character's brother is in the middle of a duel. Ronian senses an attack and ducks fast. His opponent actually praises him for dodging. But then, a soldier runs up, yelling that playtime is over. The battle is shifting, but the man says fighting Ronian is like a game, he is tough. The soldier points to the side, forcing his friend to look. Ronian sees his chance while they are distracted. In a real war, Ronian realizes he is no genius. He is just a kid trying to survive the chaos. He grips his sword tight. Even if he is not a genius, he refuses to lose to anyone. He remembers his father telling him to step up for his brother. He has to stay alive. Suddenly, he notices his opponent is looking away. Taking the opening, he lunges at the distracted warrior. With everything he has, he swings his blade. He aims straight for the back of the enemy's neck. The strike connects, finishing him instantly. Ronian is shocked at how easily he just cut the guy down. As the body hits the dirt, he notices a bunch of crossbow bolts scattered all over the ground. He looks closer at the man's corpse and sees he was already riddled with holes from those bolts. That is when he spots someone. A sight that makes him grin with pure joy and relief. Trust me, we both knew he would come back. His brother Logan did not run away. He was saving everyone. Suddenly, enemy knights start charging past the boy. The captain orders them to kill anyone with a crossbow. Facing an entire army of knights, Logan stops to think. They are in a tight shield formation. Smart move. A mercenary suggests aiming for the ground, since those shields are way too thick to pierce through directly. Then he looks at Logan and sees that terrifying demonic expression on the boy's face. Something is up. He looks at Logan and sees that terrifying demonic expression on the boy's face. Something is up. The main character gives the order. Aim for the horses. The mercenaries smile back with that psychopathic look. They readily agree and fire their bolts at the defenseless horses. Hammond's knights begin to fall violently. Logan just laughs at their absolute failure. He is glad he saved Ronian, but he needs to move. He has to help his father now. Winning this war means nothing if he loses a single family member. In this life, he is saving everyone. Logan tells Kellen to take command of the mercenaries right now. Kellen tries to protest. Their whole plan was to stay back and shoot from a safe distance. Seeing Logan run off, Kellen is confused. Why run to his death when victory is right there? Logan is strong, but an intermediate-ranked knight could still kill him. Kellen has to cover for him. With no other choice, Kellen accepts the situation and orders all his allies to give Logan cover. Patrick is in a truly brutal fight, trading heavy blows with a high-ranking knight right now. The enemy is frustrated. He cannot believe Patrick is willing to take hits just to land his own. More intermediate knights charge him. Despite his injuries, the patriarch manages to flee the deadly attack. He spills more blood while trying to stop his wounds. Then, he notices something very strange. Trust me on this, you are going to want to see exactly what happens next. Alright, you and I are about to witness a total shift in this chaotic battlefield right now. Two intermediate knights charge at Patrick, desperately throwing themselves forward despite having a clear advantage. The McLain patriarch barely manages to defend himself, quickly dodging backward to avoid a lethal strike. Unfortunately, he realizes he is cornered with absolutely no room left to retreat or regroup his strength. Right then, Logan arrives, fully powered up and ready to protect his wounded father. One soldier can only watch in fear as a furious Logan approaches at high speed. The young man blocks the strike meant for his father and steps into fight. A massive gust of wind erupts, leaving Patrick stunned by what he just witnessed. As the dust clears, Logan smiles and apologizes to his father for being a bit late. Patrick finally recognizes his son and feels a wave of relief despite his many injuries. Now, this is where you and I see Logan's growth. He saw the army behind enemy lines, but they were supposedly miles away. He wonders how his son managed to carve through the rear guard to reach him so fast. He suddenly realizes that every soldier who had been battling just moments ago has already been crushed by his son. He wants to ask how he got this strong, but there is no time. The situation is far too urgent. Logan smiles, confirming that the McLain family is finally on the very verge of winning this war. Patrick puts aside his pride, placing a hand on Logan's shoulder and praising his excellent work. The high-ranking knight is totally incredulous, watching Logan fight off two expert knights at once. He can't believe how a simple country boy of 20 years is showing such effortless skill. Fueled by pure rage, He prepares to kill Logan right now by summoning every bit of his strength. Knight orders his allies to rally while Patrick and Logan brace themselves for the next clash. Patrick senses that Logan's power is now enough to handle most intermediate-ranked fighters on the field. He figures if he takes the leader while Logan fights the Knights, their victory is basically guaranteed. However, Logan steps in front and asks to face the high-ranking man all by himself. His father warns him that the man's power is far beyond what an intermediate warrior can handle. Suddenly, Logan lightly touches his father's wound, causing the older man to groan in sharp, sudden pain. Logan tells him that in his current state, even his own son could defeat him in battle. He asks for his father's trust, promising he will handle everything while looking incredibly determined. Patrick sighs and agrees, stepping back to defend his son while urging him to stay careful. Look at this. Logan feels the trust, gets excited, and urges his father to charge into the battle with him. The high-ranking knight is beyond irritated that a kid is approaching him with such unearned confidence. He grips his sword and channels as much power as possible to crush this young upstart. He questions where that confidence comes from, but Logan just keeps advancing toward his powerful enemy. Logan plans his next move while leaping through the air with his weapon ready to strike. Their weapons collide with a massive crash that echoes across the entire battlefield for everyone to hear. The knight is startled by the impact, but Logan stays perfectly cool and collected through it. The man jumps back to create distance, unable to believe the strength behind the boy's attack. He is in total disbelief because he can't feel a massive aura coming from Logan at all. He assumes the boy is giving everything he has just to barely overpower him for a moment. Determined to end it, the man charges at Logan with the intent to kill him instantly. He screams for Logan to die while launching a heavy attack, but the boy stays calm. A fierce sword duel begins, with only the bright flashes of clashing blades visible to everyone. They appear matched, but the knight's previous wounds are finally starting to burn and ache. Logan spots an opening and slashes the knight's chest, leaving a massive and painful wound behind. The man groans as his injuries weigh him down, making it impossible to counter the strike. And that's where we leave it. Logan just proved he's built different, right? Alright, you and I are about to watch Logan finally corner his prey as this knight's malicious smile fades. Logan was locked in for the kill, but suddenly felt the very power being sucked right out of his sword. He caught on fast. The warrior's weapon was literally draining his energy like a sponge. That high-ranking knight thought he had Logan trapped, planting his feet and gripping his blade with everything. With a violent tug, he dragged Logan toward him, causing the young master to lose his balance and stumble. Seeing Logan stumble, the knight started celebrating way too early, thinking his victory was already in the bag. He figured since Logan had lost his center of gravity, he would be totally helpless against any incoming attack. This was it, the perfect opening. The knight swung for the kill, but his blade hit nothing but air. Totally baffled, he spun around only to see something that probably made his heart stop right then and there. Logan had moved so fast he practically vanished, appearing behind the knight like some kind of terrifying ghost. Logan just stood there, looking at this pathetic excuse for a warrior. The knight finally realized he was too slow. Our boy started revving up the divine sword secret, his blade glowing bright as it flooded with aura. That soldier from Viscount Hayman's squad knew his time was up, and his only thought was to flee. Pay attention here. This is where Logan unleashes the first form of the divine sword secret. He triggered the cutting wave, slamming his blade down and releasing a massive, earth-shattering wave of pure energy. Blinding light hit the knight's face before the energy wave incinerated the man right where he stood. The sheer force of that blast was so intense, even Patrick and Ronian saw it from miles away. Honestly, that energy strike was so massive that literally everyone on the battlefield saw it happen. Logan sighed and spat toward his fallen foe, leaving a huge trail of destruction behind him. He just muttered to himself, wondering why anyone would even bother with such pathetic and cheap tricks. Raising his sword high, he announced to everyone that he had officially taken down the enemy general. Silence fell over the field as allies and enemies alike just stared in pure disbelief. Viscount had already ditched them. His soldiers were left in total despair. One guy dropped his sword. Why keep fighting when they could just surrender? They all agreed giving up to the McLain family was their only real shot at living. Rick started screaming for everyone to praise their master's incredible power. He kept crying and repeating those words, totally overwhelmed from being saved. The Allied soldiers joined in, celebrating their incredible victory with pure joy. Everyone celebrated the family victory as a lone horse galloped swiftly into the night. Let's pause and look at Hammond. He's asking himself where it all went so wrong after 3 long years. He pulled in every favor and brought 100 knights. Yet here he was, running away. He blamed that cursed redhead Logan for ruining his life with those weapons and cavalry. Just thinking about Logan's face made him boil with rage. His only plan left was to get home and survive. He reached his massive walls, panic written all over him. He demanded the gates open immediately for their lord. Soldiers spotted something coming on the horizon and warned his lord immediately. Logan's cavalry was right on his tail. Haemon panicked, having no clue what to do. Dismounting, Logan mocked how fast the Viscount was to run away. The whole mercenary cavalry stopped in front of the massive fortress walls. Logan announced Tesseron's defeat, ordering the guards to welcome the true victor. Confused archers looked down, but their general ordered them to stay firm. Words alone weren't enough. Logan just sighed and drew his sword to settle things. Ignoring the threats, he started fueling his blade with massive amounts of aura. He vanished instantly. You and I both know what happens next. Alright, stick with me as we witness one of the most savage takedowns in this story. The guard had no clue. Logan was leaping between the walls, scaling the fortress like an absolute beast. At the top, he held his blade. His sword was at the general's neck, ordering the gates open or else. Inside Tezin's mansion, an eerie silence spread. Every door was wide open. A butler and servant watched their master in confusion while he frantically searched the room. Viscount Hammond was frantically rummaging through several treasure chests. For some reason, he was looking for anything valuable to take. In a total panic, the man thought he should at least grab some gold coins to survive once he fled elsewhere. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Logan had finally found his opponent. Desperate, Tessin turned around and gasped in shock. Logan explained that his own servants had given him up before he even had to threaten them. Loyalty was dead. With a terrifying look, the boy noted that this betrayal said everything about Tessin's reputation as a lord. He was finished. The Viscount stayed frantic, while the butler realized the ship was sinking and quickly fled. Tessin could only watch in rage. He grew furious, screaming about how his servants dared to betray him. Logan just started walking slowly toward the trembling man. The blonde Viscount began to plead for his life, offering any reparations needed. He begged for mercy and promised to surrender. He begged to be spared according to the conventions of feudal wars. Logan just scoffed at the coward's desperate words. The redhead merely mocked him and kept advancing. Logan told him he had no right to talk about traditions now. Now, pay attention, because Logan is about to lay down some facts. Hammond surrendered in less than one single day. The boy asked if the Lord had even a shred of conscience left. Hammond tried one last desperate plea for honor. He claimed Logan should uphold nobility's honor by sparing prisoners. Surprisingly, the boy actually seemed to agree with the coward. He stated he would respect the customs of his house and spare the blonde's life, even letting him take wealth. Thinking he was safe, the Viscount thanked him, but Logan told him he'd only show mercy if he were his father. Patrick was a man of honor who would accept a surrender. But Logan? He was built a lot more cold-blooded. The young man reached for his sword, but stopped when he saw a beautiful crystal dagger inside one of the treasure chests. It was a stunning weapon. Logan picked it up, admiring the craftsmanship, while Hammond watched him with desperate, shaking eyes. Hammond pleaded with him to take the dagger, claiming it was made by one of the finest artisans in the world. While examining the blade, the young man thanked him but declined the gift. He was looking for something more permanent. Logan suggested the Viscount take the weapon with him. He looked gentle, even smiling at the man for a moment. You and I both saw that coming, White. With extreme cruelty, he plunged the dagger straight into his enemy's chest. Hammond groaned in agony, reminding Logan that he had promised to spare him. The boy just stared back with cold eyes. He coldly replied that he would have kept that promise if he were Patrick, but he was his own man through and through. He drove the dagger deeper, stating clearly that he was not his father. The Viscount could only mutter about noble honor, but our protagonist silenced him for good. Logan asked if he knew how many people had died because of his greed. Finally, with a terrifying expression we had never seen before, Logan told the man to end his wretched life right here. With brutal precision, the redhead finished off his opponent, giving him zero chance to fight back. It was finally over. The young man stood over the lifeless body, thinking to himself that at least the man had died quickly without struggle. Logan stared at his blood-stained hands, reflecting on everything for a moment. He then closed his fist tightly over his chest. He felt a wave of relief for finally overcoming this crisis. He stood up, knowing there were still loose ends to tie. After cleaning up the scene, he figured that should be enough. Suddenly, Castellan burst into the room, calling for his master. Logan asked what he wanted, and Kai requested that he see something shocking in the castle's secret underground prison. Logan followed his ally down into the dungeon. What they found there remained a mystery as the scene jumped ahead. A few days later at McLain Castle, Patrick had finally recovered. He looked his son in the eye and asked questions. He questioned Logan directly, asking if Tezin had truly killed himself. The redhead confirmed the lie, claiming despair took him. But his plan started to crumble when his father didn't look convinced. Patrick kept staring, waiting for him to talk. He asked once more if the boy had actually killed Hammond. Patrick was searching for the truth in his son's eyes. The silence was very heavy as Logan tried to maintain his composure under his father's intense, knowing gaze. Logan stood there, trying to keep a straight face as his father waited for him to reveal what actually happened. And that is where we leave it, trust me. You and I are going to see some serious drama very soon. Alright, stick with me, our main character is about to drop a cold truth on his own father. Logan explains he couldn't let the Teslan line survive and cause future problems for their family. Patrick stays silent for a long moment, but then assures him it's fine, since Logan is an adult with reasons. Looking at his father, Logan realizes Patrick has truly changed and feels like a completely different man. The patriarch tells his son that regardless of what anyone else says, he performed best in battle. Still filled with pride, Patrick whispers his thanks. Logan can only respond with a gentle smile. Immediately, the head of the McLain family turns to Logan, declaring him the official heir to the house. Logan looks flattered, and his father reassures him that he definitely deserves this massive position. As Logan is about to accept, he suddenly apologizes and says he has to refuse the offer. Patrick gets irritated. You and I can see his confusion. Is Logan really rejecting the successor role? Patrick asks if Logan is worried about his reputation, noting his war deeds changed everything anyway. Logan explains that this is not it. Ronian is actually the one more suited for the position. Patrick remains silent for a moment, listening as Logan explains that Ronian is much better suited for the position. He explains that Ronian became a Force user at 14, which is 5 years younger than Logan was back then. He reminds his father that it's impossible to predict what feats Ronian might achieve by the time he's grown. Patrick counters, saying that even if that is true, martial skill alone does not make someone fit to lead. Our protagonist knows that reasoning makes sense for this era, but he remembers Ronian's incredible path from before. If Ronian earns the title of the youngest Force user on the continent again, there will absolutely be no issue. Logan also realizes there is simply no benefit in becoming the successor and wasting his time as a baron. He responds that as the older brother, he simply wants to give his younger sibling a fair chance to lead. He hopes Patrick will wait until Ronian reaches full adulthood before officially deciding on the next family heir. Patrick sighs, admitting he never expected Logan to care this much about his own younger brother's future path. The man agrees, stating he will delay the decision for 5 years until Ronian finally becomes an adult man. He also wants to reward Logan once they return home and settle the remaining matters of the war. Logan gives a cheeky grin, asking if he can pick something specific of interest as his reward. Now pay attention, these knights arriving home after only 1 week of war has the entire city in a frenzy. Cheers from the festive crowd ring out as the heroes finally return to their homes and families. Civilians discuss how incredible it was that they returned after only a week, hearing the war ended in 1 day. The farmer asks how that is possible, wondering if the kingdom's knights were always this terrifyingly strong. The friend explains the rumors credit the entire victory to the first young master, Logan McLain himself. Word from the soldiers who returned first is that Logan's mercenaries were the ones who truly turned the tide. They say the mercenaries used mysterious weapons while Logan defeated a high-ranking enemy knight all alone. A girl nearby overhears the news and asks if the young master is really that amazing. People speculate that Logan must have had a plan when buying all those monsters before. With pride, the farmers look at Logan, stating that real prodigies are on another level. Listening to this, our main character feels extremely uncomfortable and embarrassed by all the public praise. Behind him, Ronian asks how Logan feels now that the entire city is celebrating his return. Logan says it makes him blush. Ronian suggests he should at least give them a smile. Logan wonders if that's right, but seeing their proud faces, he tries to push past his embarrassment. Logan gives a completely awkward smile and makes a thumbs-up gesture to the cheering crowd. Those who previously looked at him with pride are now visibly shocked by that weird expression. Ronian asks what that smile was, noting that everyone is now actually scared of him. Patrick smiles gently and announces that everyone should welcome the great champion of the war. The crowd erupts in cheers, chanting the name of young Master Logan as they celebrate their champion. You and I just watched an awkward hero realize that the victory ceremony lasted way too long for his liking. Alright, you and I are about to see a serious family drama unfold after this brutal war. Ronian's mother suddenly appears behind Logan, demanding to know what he's really up to this time. She heard he gave up being the heir, but she isn't buying it like everyone else. Ronian tries to apologize for her behavior, mentioning how the Cairo family mess broke her spirit. Logan just brushes it off and looks Marion straight in the eye, ready to handle this. He realizes she is toothless now the Cairo family betrayal stripped away all her actual political power. Since she is no longer a threat, Logan thinks a sincere apology might actually work now. He admits he hasn't been trustworthy lately and that his past actions were pretty hard to defend. He truly regrets acting out of petty jealousy and feeling inferior to his own younger brother. Marion snorts, telling Ronian she was right and that Logan finally admitted to being a total failure. Logan stops Ronian from apologizing because Ronian is actually the one who deserves an apology here. Now pay attention, because Logan is about to drop a truth bomb that nobody expected. He's been apologizing since he came back, but he never actually explained the why behind it. It took him this long to face his own cowardly nature and finally own up to everything. With brutal honesty, Logan admits something dark for the past few years. He absolutely hated Ronian. During that, it's like the floor just vanished under Ronian. He's standing there in total shock. Silence fills the room. Even Marion is speechless. But Logan isn't finished with his confession yet. He confesses he used hate to mask his own failures, and he hates those pathetic years now. Swallowing all his pride, Logan decides it's finally time for a real, official apology to his brother. He finally says, "I am sorry," but Ronian just stares back, looking almost disgusted, Logan freezes up. He thinks a few good deeds won't erase years of being a jerk. But then Ronian speaks. Ronian smiles and says it is okay. Logan is stunned as his brother explains his perspective. He always believed that if he stayed kind, his real brother would eventually come back to him. Ronian gives a warm, forgiving smile. Logan feels like an idiot for waiting so long to apologize. Logan turns back to Marianne and promises her that he truly wants Ronian to lead the family. He knows she won't trust him immediately, and honestly, he isn't asking her to do that yet. He just wants her to watch him from now on, to see his actions prove his sincerity. Marianne looks moved but stays quiet. Logan just watches her, letting the moment sink in properly. Under the moonlight, Logan feels satisfied. But the next day, he's back in the forest with Hammer. Let's see what these two are up to now. Hammer asks where they're going after the war. Logan tells him the vacation is over. Hammer is curious how hard he'll be pushed this time. Logan tells the dwarf not to worry. He promises Hammer is going to love this new project. Hammer is skeptical. His master usually has a weird idea of fun. Soon, they reach the spot. Logan points at a massive mountain and declares that they are going to develop the whole thing. As Hammer stares in awe, we flash back to when Logan made this request to his father. His father, Patrick, is confused. He asks if Logan means the mountain near the Tessin border. Logan confirms it, but Patrick points out the place is just a desolate wasteland with nothing there. He wonders why Logan wants it. Logan just shrugs, acting like he doesn't have a specific reason. He claims there might be minerals there, but the real reason comes out 1 year later. Turns out, Tessin starts exporting massive amounts of gold from a hill in that very territory. This gold made Tessin huge, until Ronian eventually wiped them out in a future revenge massacre. Back in the present, Kalon leads Logan through the underground prison of the captured Tessin fortress. The mercenary tells Logan that there is something very strange he needs to see down here. Logan checks out one of the cells and his eyes widen at what he finds inside. And you and I just found our next big plot point. An old man screams his innocence. Alright, you and I are about to see how a simple mind job turned into a total nightmare. Logan is completely fed up. He can't believe that idiot Hamar locked up 5 literal experts. Looking at this valuable mine with a terrifying grin, Logan sees nothing but pure unexpected profit. The old man is shaking in his boots, terrified of whatever this boy is planning next. Logan knows beating Tessin was great, but that was just one tiny battle won. The real threat? The coming Empire invasion that is going to wipe this nation out. It all starts in 1 year with the sudden, shocking death of the current king. Samuel von Grandia's passing triggers a massive power struggle in a 3-year civil war. Kingdom's strength hits 0, leaving them wide open for the Empire to strike. The McLain family is totally neutral, which usually means they would just be sitting targets. Logan isn't about to let this perfect chance for power just slip away. He is determined to take back his family's old lands and be the Lord of the Southwest again. Now, watch this part right as he's planning to end the war, a voice snaps him back to reality. Mars snaps him out of it, standing there with the people the Viscount had caged. Looking at the dark future, our hero knows he needs massive power and fast, but he can't look insane. He has to fund his entire army with his own cash. That mountain is about to become his massive cash cow to fund his new army. He tells everyone straight up there's gold in that hill, and we are mining it. When he asks for the price tag, everyone around him looks absolutely stunned. Mar is just disappointed, thinking his master has lost his mind again. The elder says Tessin paid well, but this new plan? It sounds totally crazy. He asks if Logan is actually sure that there is gold inside that mountain. Logan is 100% confident, leaving the old man wondering how he knows. Okay, I know what you're thinking. He just says he saw it. Yeah, he sounds crazy. It's a top secret mission, and only the 6 of them will be the ones digging for that gold. The old man panics, thinking Logan is completely insane for trying this impossible job with such a tiny crew. He looks to Homar for help, but the dwarf just says they either start working or get ready to die. He tells the elder to accept his fate, forget about sleep, and say goodbye to ever living like a human again. Logan loves that work ethic, and asks the elder exactly how much they need. Need 5 million for the initial investment just to see how much gold is actually hidden inside the mountain. Hamar warns that safely developing the mine is slow, and prep alone takes 6 full months. It's a huge drain on time and money, but Logan knows he needs this mine. If only he could sell that monster meat, things would move way faster. But the chemicals won't be ready for 6 months. He's stuck without that meat money. Wait, a light bulb moment. He can use the toxins to create medicine right now. He remembers making these agents as a mercenary. This could change the entire game. 1 week later in McLain Village, the first batch of the experiment is finally done. Rick points out the barrels of medicine while Logan gives them a close inspection. Logan tells him to stop calling it dubious and use the professional term instead. He asks for the monster meat, which is currently locked in the village warehouse. Seeing his plan work perfectly, Logan smiles to himself knowing that he has finally hit the jackpot. He is feeling great and asks a breathless Dwayne to give him a hand right now. Dwayne kneels down, showing his young master some serious respect with a deep bow. Logan just stands there looking like a boss, knowing he holds all the cards. And trust me, we're all confused. All right, you and I are diving into Logan's most profitable scheme yet as he hands Dwayne the box. Men are practically worshipping him after the first test. Back in his room, Logan mentions the Hannel rumors. Apparently, Hannel has been fighting with his wives every day. He's embarrassed and demands to know the source. Logan jams a pill into his subordinate's mouth. After swallowing it, Hannel feels like his entire body is on fire. Logan sends him straight home to his wife. Next up, he's heading to talk to his own father. Hannel is just speechless with gratitude. He's ready to go fulfill his mission, if you know what I mean. The third test is with his father, Patrick. Even though it's awkward, he admits the pill is incredibly effective. Walking through the halls, Logan mentally apologizes to Ronian. Why? Because they might have a new sibling soon. Suddenly, Rick catches up. He's annoyed he wasn't picked for the test after doing all that hard labor. Rick wants to know why he was left out. Logan just stares him down in dead silence for a bit. Without a single word, Logan walks away. Poor Rick is left standing there wondering what that look meant. And Logan drops the bomb saying Rick doesn't even have anyone to use the pill with anyway. Rick is fuming, but Logan just tells him to back off because he smells bad. Savage move, right? Now, check this out. Here's where the real business begins through a magical communication orb. They agree there's a huge market if it works. But now it's time to talk about the actual price. Logan wants 100 gold per pill, or a full kit for 1,000. That is some serious cash. Philip, the man on the other side, warns him. Capital nobles definitely won't just swallow any random product easily. Logan knows it's a tough sell, but he's confident. See, in his past life, this stuff sold like crazy. He tells Philip that limited quantities will drive the price even higher. And honestly, Philip is starting to agree. Logan mentions that a testimony from someone famous would be a game changer for their total sales figures. Philip scoffs. No noble is going to publicly admit they needed a pill to fix their bedroom problems. But Logan has a plan. They don't need a public speech, just a few well-placed rumors. Eyes are everywhere in high society. Once the word spreads, the demand will explode on its own. Philip suggests attending a capital party. Logan is confused. He's never had a reason to go to one. He remembers his past. The only parties he knew were mercenary celebrations after a bloody, hard-won battle. Back then, his family was broke. Philip explains parties are for networking, even if it takes some time. It's not like he can just sell the product at the party. That would be social suicide, obviously. However, Logan totally misses the point and thinks he should definitely try selling the product right there. Philip tries to stop him, saying they'll be outcasts. But Logan is already deep into a brand new idea. You and I know he's up to something when he mentions having a secret informant in the capital. He promises to share the details once he arrives. Philip has a really bad feeling about this whole thing. A week later, a rider dismounts. They've finally made it. The capital of the kingdom is finally in sight. Logan stands before the massive gates. Philip is already there waiting to greet his master with a bow. Philip is genuinely curious how he got permission. After all, selling bedroom products in the capital isn't a typical noble hobby. Logan admits his family would never agree to this scheme, so he just fed them a completely different story to get away. He let him go because of his war feats. But hauling 3,000 boxes without help was a real struggle. Logan is actually surprised his father let him leave for the capital so easily. It was much faster than expected. Philip reminds him that even when they first met, Logan didn't have servants. He wonders if traveling alone is wise. Logan says having a servant would just slow him down. He needs to move freely and quickly around the capital. Besides, Rick has his own secret work to handle. Logan has already given him a massive task that requires focus. His subordinate definitely has enough problems as it is. Thinking about Rick, Logan starts to reflect on his past life. He remembers how Rick did everything for him in both lives. No matter the situation, the guy was always there. Rick has always been by his side. Logan doesn't say it, but he feels deeply grateful for such a loyal man. He truly appreciates his subordinate. Back in the present, Logan tells Philip he has finally made a firm decision. Trust me, you and I are about to see a whole new side of our main character. Rick put in the work and the product is finally ready. They're calling it Impo. Philip thinks Logan is a total lunatic. All right, you and I are diving into Logan's next crazy scheme. Philip suggests hitting a bar after their long trip, but Logan says no, it is not exactly wise. Talk business in a crowded place with so many ears around. Philip agrees and switches topics, telling Logan he finally met the informant for that top-secret data. He asks if Logan is serious about paying 900 gold coins per document. Logan knows the guy is pricey, but he is also elite. As long as Philip handled the request right, they will. Exactly what they need. Philip confirms he followed the plan to the letter. First, he wanted names of powerful nobles married for 10 years with 0 kids. Second, nobles who have not taken any lovers or second wives. And third, those who keep looking for foods that boost stamina. Logan nods. Philip definitely understood the assignment. He has done an amazing job on this and everything else lately. Philip just humbly replies it was not that hard. The real stress was hearing about the war. He's just glad the fighting is over. Philip jokes he was actually worried that if Logan died, he would be stuck with all that leftover monster meat. Annoyed, Logan tosses paper at Philip's face and tells him to read it. Now, pay attention, this list holds the key to their whole future. Which noble would make the best first client? Philip looks over the options before pointing to a specific name. The perfect choice. Logan takes a look, and he is definitely impressed. He knows this guy. Inside a grand ballroom, nobles are partying hard. A blonde man, surrounded by women, flirting away. Logan walks in and calls out to him, Count Davis. The Count looks totally confused about who is calling him. Logan introduces himself as the eldest son of the McLain family. Seeing Logan's weird outfit, the Count barely hides a laugh while welcoming him. In his head, Fallon Davis thinks this kid is super tacky. Logan does not care. He just wore what Philip recommended. Honestly, it is fine if people hate the fit. He is not here to make friends at some boring party. His only target is Count Davis. See, Fallon is a big deal in the treasury, but despite being married for 20 years, he has no children. Logan, stunned when Philip picked this name. You see, in Logan's past life, this Davis guy became infamous. The Count actually ended his own life after a massive fight with his wife. It all started with a massive public argument at a party. His wife dropped a total bombshell on everyone, claiming Davis was impotent. Suddenly, every eye in the room was on him. That humiliation pushed him over the edge. Logan remembers how much the man's reputation meant to him. He is the absolute perfect first client for Logan's new business venture. It is time. Logan snaps back to the present. He tells the Count he is in the capital on business and wanted to say hello. Fallon responds that the capital already has everything, but maybe a country bumpkin like Logan brought something interesting from the outskirts. Logan just agrees. He is confident his product is not on the market here yet. That is exactly why he is bringing it to the city. Logan leans in close. He whispers to Davis that this is a very special remedy just for men. Logan quietly mentions he is selling a certain stimulant for adult activities. Hearing this, Fallon is absolutely outraged. He starts shouting so every person in the room can hear him. He cannot believe a noble is selling stuff like that. The ladies are totally embarrassed, judging Logan hard. Fallon thinks this backwoods noble has no clue and is just humiliating himself. Logan just sighs. He expected this. Undeterred, he steps toward Fallon again. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see how this gift changes everything. You and I are about to see a genius hustle. Logan reveals Impric, a remedy priced at 100 gold per coin. He gives 3 boxes to Fallon Davis as a special tribute, making sure the Count knows this stuff is an elite remedy with 0 side effects. The Count is hooked immediately. He just can't resist the temptation. A few days later, the shop bell rings. A white-haired man arrives, sent by his lord specifically to retrieve more of the Impric to the shop. Logan is thrilled that Count Davis sent a runner and introduces himself to the man. After the deal, Philip thanks him and they head out. Philip returns inside and says 10,000 gold for 10 boxes is a solid start for their first day. But Logan tells his team they need way more than that, since rent for this tiny shop costs 10,000 gold. Philip thinks having a storefront is a smart move because crowds gathering in front of the shop create a huge impact. Logan agrees, but then says he is hitting up another party. Claude is annoyed that Logan has been partying every single day since they reached Grand. Logan says having Count Davis as a client is not enough. Logan smiles, knowing he needs to hit every name on his list. And trust me, we're about to see this move fast. A week later, that same servant is heading back to the shop. The old man can't believe the Count is actually buying more of this stuff, considering no health food ever worked for him before. It is honestly insane. As he gets closer, the servant sees a massive line of people waiting for the store to open. He is totally confused why the line is so long, especially when he recognizes some of the faces. In the crowd are the Chamberlain of Viscount Talon and a servant from Count HL. Hiding his face, the man thinks this scene could spark some nasty rumors, so he plans to buy the stuff and bail. Suddenly, Philip steps outside and apologizes to everyone waiting. He explains that unfortunately, they do not have any stock ready for today. The crowd is stunned. One guy asks why, and Philip explains that Impric has become a massive hit, but they do not have a factory yet, so sales are strictly limited. Despite the shortage, the customers keep begging for a box, knowing their masters will be absolutely furious if they return without the medicine. Meanwhile, an old noble walking by sees the chaotic crowd and gets, "Now watch this." From the shadows, Logan smiles as his plan works. By limiting stock, he is making these nobles desperate to buy. Noble curiosity. Seeing these crowds will also make other lords want in on the secret. In the mob, Philip says the stock for the day is totally gone and asks everyone to come back tomorrow morning. This same pattern repeats for days. After a few sales, they sell out, keeping the hype alive every single day. The noble's men keep coming back, desperate to secure the high-demand medicine for their bosses. Inside, Philip tells Logan how wild it is that the stock is flying off the shelves so fast. While counting the cash, Logan admits he never imagined there were so many struggling nobles in this kingdom. He also notes that they tripled the price, yet people are still throwing money at them to buy. Philip looks at his master with total respect. The red-headed leader just gives a mischievous grin. Suddenly, a massive crash from inside the shop can be heard by everyone on the street. While joking with his crew, Logan praises Claude for the hard work, promising that starting next month, he gets 1% of the total profit. Claude starts screaming with pure joy and promises to give Logan whatever he needs, completely overwhelmed. Outside, a blonde man in a hood is quietly watching the shop. Inside, Logan blurs out that he cannot believe they will make 10 tons of gold a year. Realizing he was too loud, he covers his mouth while talking to someone on a transmission. Whispering, Logan asks the person on the other end if they are actually serious. Hammer confirms it over the transmission. The miners say there is a huge chance for gold nuggets deep in the stratum. Unable to hide his hype, Logan realizes 10 tons of gold equals 100 million gold coins. Hammer notes that the actual mining costs are no joke and asks if Logan has the funds to cover it. Logan says he absolutely does. With a proud look, Logan tells the dwarf to wait for him as he gathers the cash and workers needed for the job. The exhausted dwarf just wants a break, but trust me, you and I know Logan is just getting started. Later that night, back in the city, he calculated the mine's startup cost, estimating it at 5 million gold. Since Emporic was flying off the shelves, he would make 4 million monthly and have the cash in 2 months. With his backup stock and more supplies from home, he could finally break ground on that gold mine. Alright, stick with me because this is where our main character's life takes a very strange turn. His face hardened as he sprinted toward the shop, fearing a thief had already broken into his business. Logan burst inside and scanned the room, but the place looked completely empty and quiet. There was only one door, so if someone was inside, they could not have just vanished like that. Suddenly, a presence loomed behind him, putting his combat instincts on absolute high alert. He swung around to strike the intruder, demanding to know exactly who was creeping in his shop, but his blade hit nothing, leaving him totally baffled as the figure seemingly disappeared into thin air. Then, a crushing weight slammed onto his shoulders. Looking up, Logan spotted a hooded figure perched on the roof and immediately leaped up to attack. He lunged forward for a lethal stab, but the mysterious person dodged his sword like it was nothing. The silent intruder just watched him from the rooftop as Logan shouted, demanding to know their name. In a blink, the shadow vanished right before his eyes. Terrified and confused, Logan realized every trace of the intruder had completely disappeared from the area. He knew someone was there, especially when he felt a strange new object suddenly resting in his palm. The next morning, Philip asked his master if a thief using aura had really broken into the shop. Logan admitted it was just a guess, but that person was definitely an advanced force user at minimum. Now pay attention here, this mysterious being was on a whole different level. Philip could not wrap his head around why a powerful aura user would commit a petty theft. He asked what was missing, and Logan's answer was strange. Holding up a box, Logan explained that the thief only took 2 pills of Emporic. Claude was stumped. They were not after money, so they clearly wanted the pills for personal use. Philip wondered if some aura users were actually impotent, and Logan's reaction was pure shock. He checked their list for aura users, but Claude said that info would cost a lot more. Then Claude remembered one specific high-ranking aura user in the capital who had no children. Cut to the streets, where a nobleman stands quietly, watching 2 young children run past him. He just stared at them in total silence. You and I see his sadness, right? This is where his story gets heavy. His wife asked what he was looking at, and he claimed he was just enjoying the view. She knew her husband was staring at those children with that same look again. He insisted it was nothing, telling her not to worry about such useless thoughts. But his wife started crying, so he pulled her close and suggested they go home. While holding him, she whispered how happy she was to have met him, and he hugged her tight. Turns out this man is Felix Esperanza, the greatest swordsman in the entire kingdom. His deep regret actually came from a terrible, unfair injury he suffered back in his younger days. He took an honorable hit to his private parts while fighting on the defense line. Back then, he did not think much of it, but the future had a very cruel reality. Being a duke and the strongest knight meant nothing without a child to carry his legacy. In a flashback, his beloved held his hand, sensing the hidden agony he was going through. She vowed to stay by his side forever, despite the pain. Looking at her, Esperanza wished he could repay the incredible love she always showed him. Later, a vassal interrupted his thoughts, reminding him the family meeting was starting soon. Stay tuned for more. Alright, stick with me, because we are about to dive into one of the most awkward situations ever. Rumors were flying about a miracle cure in the city, but Felix just was not buying it. His man swore it could fix anything, even physical wounds. Felix laughed, but the guy stayed dead serious. Everyone was raving about it, which was super embarrassing because Felix had already tried it in secret. He was the one who stole those pills. Even with his wife's tears, he did not feel like a criminal. He just wanted to fix his problem, but even after taking the remedy, absolutely nothing happened for him. Felix told his man to stop listening to gossip, leaving the poor subordinate apologizing for bringing it up. Heartbroken, he realized it was just another lie. If aura power could not fix him, no medicine could either. Deep in his feelings, Felix finally decided it was time to just give up on his hopes entirely. Standing at the gate, a guard told Logan he already said meeting the master was impossible due to prior plans. Now watch this part. Logan just smiled and said that is exactly why he was only asking the guard to help him, to go inside and tell Felix his name, knowing the master would be dying to meet him right away. A bit earlier, Claude had asked if Logan was really crazy enough to face a master swordsman alone. Logan said yes. Claude freaked out, saying you cannot just walk up to the most important people around. He thought Logan was losing it. Philip agreed, saying this kid was just begging for a world of trouble. They told him to just play dumb, because if this backfired, things were going to get really ugly fast. Back in the present, Logan sat there thinking that while they were right, he had to take this chance. Suddenly, the door swung open and a butler officially welcomed Logan inside the fancy mansion room. He followed the butler in, and as he walked toward his target, he saw Felix standing with his back turned. Logan knew he was looking at one of the strongest people in the entire nation right then. This was a massive chance to make a powerful friend, so Logan bowed and quickly introduced himself. He explained he was there to see the master swordsman, knowing this guy was actually almost 100 years old. Despite his age, he looked incredibly young because of the overwhelming power flowing through his aura. Recognizing the family name, Felix asked what brought the eldest son from the south all the way to the capital. You and I both know he cannot mention last night. He said he started a new business in the city and brought a special gift before pulling out some medicine. Pitched it as a top-tier remedy for men that other nobles loved. Felix just watched him, playing dumb. Felix was totally stone-faced, so Logan could not tell if this was the guy from the night before. Time for the next move. Logan told him that normal stuff was obviously not enough for a master. Since he brought something extra special, Felix finally had a reaction that Logan picked up on. He guessed the medicine did nothing because it normally just neutralized the poison found in cheap monster meat. Since Felix was a powerful superhuman, that low-level monster toxicity had absolutely zero effect on his physical body. So, Logan concentrated the poison into a massive dose to create a version that actually worked. It was a special limited edition made just for the master swordsman. Felix just stayed quiet. Even though it had the power of 50 pills in one, Logan was totally confident it would work. Speaking from personal experience, he told Felix to try it and call him if he was satisfied. He promised to supply as much as needed, but he made it clear this had to stay a total secret. Felix took the small box and spent a moment thinking about the offer. Next day, Felix looked incredibly happy and asked Logan what he wanted in return for the gift he had brought. Logan was cheering on the inside, but he acted totally innocent and asked the swordsman what he meant by that. He knew aura masters could feel their own bodies, so Felix definitely sensed the pill was legit. Felix was thinking that if he took 30 of these, he might finally get back what he lost. Feeling relieved, Felix appreciated that the boy did not mention his mistake and brought such a thoughtful gift. Felix saw some truly amazing swordsmanship. Trust me, you and I just watched this kid become a total legend. Alright, stick with me because Logan's skills were way too advanced for someone his age. He was a natural. Felix started laughing, totally impressed. The legendary swordsman admitted the gift Logan gave him was a miracle. That medicine could actually fix his old injuries, so he decided he had to reward the young redhead. With insane confidence, Logan just casually asked for a useless swordsmanship book that Felix didn't even want. Later on, Felix found the exact book in the library and handed it over to the boy. He told Logan he could keep it, but warned that training with this manual alone might wreck his body. It had some unique tricks worth studying, though. Logan then shyly asked for a signed gifted certificate. Felix agreed, totally unsuspecting. Behind that gentle look, Logan knew he just secured exactly what he needed. He thought a single book from a master was a bit weak, but his real goal was different. The manual was just a cover. His true objective was something way more valuable than a dusty old scroll. Now pay attention here. Out of nowhere, Felix offered to personally teach Logan some secret sword techniques. Felix thought Logan was being too modest, and a low-tier book just wasn't enough of a reward. Logan already had the secret of the divine sword, but he wasn't about to turn down this offer. At the training grounds, Felix said teaching a talented kid was one of the best parts of aging. He drew his blade and gave a chilling warning he wasn't going to be a merciful teacher today. Logan gripped his sword, ready for anything, but Felix's massive presence felt like a mountain crushing him. The weight was insane. The master swordsman barked an order for Logan to finally draw his weapon. Logan struggled just to stand. That crushing aura was throwing his entire body off balance and pinning him. He could barely even hold his grip. This was the terrifying, raw power of a true aura master. He wondered if every aura user was this broken, since their presence alone could literally bind a person, but he shook it off. If this was common, every war on the continent would be decided by aura users alone. You saw that too, right? Logan realized this wasn't just presence, it was a highly specialized combat technique. Logan fired up his core, releasing an intense glow that even caught Felix off guard for a second. He sharpened his senses, analyzing the force. Felix's aura was hitting his pressure points to stop his movement. Every time he tried to move, his power got dispersed. But Logan knew there was a way out. The trick was simple: move 1 millisecond faster than the aura could react to disperse his own force. With perfect timing, he lunged forward, his blade cutting through the air with total precision and speed. Felix just watched, remarking that his hunch was right. This kid really was a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Sweating through his shirt, Logan caught his breath as Felix planted his sword and said to watch closely. Suddenly, red energy surged at the blade's tip. Logan felt the entire crushing force converge into one point. It was overwhelming power. Logan first thought it was an aura blade, but then he realized the truth. No, this was something way bigger and far beyond a normal aura blade. As Felix charged up his next move, he told Logan to try and withstand the coming impact. Logan was paralyzed, staring at the massive technique. It was the legendary and feared gravity sword style. The attack crawled forward slowly, but Logan couldn't move. The invisible force had him completely locked in place. Felix's energy messed with his senses, cutting deep as that glowing red blade gained even more momentum. Logan scrambled for a solution. He understood how it worked now, but how could he actually stop it? He realized his own aura could neutralize the momentum. He locked his focus purely on that gravity sword. Logan pushed his aura to the limit, making everything around him explode into a blinding, golden light. Felix noticed the counter move. The kid was actually using his own power to push back the gravity sword. Felix didn't hold back, advancing mercilessly toward Logan to unleash the full weight of his massive attack. With lightning-fast footwork, Logan built an invisible shield of aura to protect himself from the incoming blast. Finally, the kingdom's greatest swordsman struck, sending Logan flying clear across the training room like a ragdoll. Logan hit the wall with a violent crash as Felix watched him from a distance with sharp eyes. And that's where we leave it. Logan starting to master gravity. Alright, you and I are about to watch Logan finally start cracking the code on this elite sword technique. Felix wasn't buying it though, claiming it was impossible to just copy a high-level move after seeing it once. But Logan insisted he could pull it off. Then, without warning, he just collapsed straight onto the hard ground. Esperanza felt terrible, admitting he went way too hard on that strike. Still, he called Logan truly exceptional for surviving. Felix watched the unconscious kid, thinking his progress was getting interesting. Later on, the butler saw Logan heading out. The old man mentioned that Esperanza wanted Logan to stay and rest comfortably until he was back to full health. But Logan wasn't having it, claiming the Duke's potion already fixed him. The butler just nodded and walked him out. He wished him safe travels at the gate, and Logan gave his thanks for all the help during his visit. As soon as he was alone, Logan started sprinting, his tough guy mask completely vanishing as the real pain hit. Now pay attention, he's literally refusing to waste that expensive potion on what he calls minor-level injuries. He figured his evolving aura could handle the healing for now. Plus, a sword wound like that isn't an easy fix. That potion was just too valuable to waste. While checking the vial, he spotted a small hidden note inside. It was coordinates for the Duke's officer if he ever needed to reach out. Logan just gave a devious grin. He didn't expect Felix to treat him this well. It felt like he was being viewed as a real disciple. Suddenly, Philip popped out of nowhere and nearly gave Logan a heart attack by shouting his name. Philip had been waiting the whole time, worried sick. He asked if Logan had somehow managed to offend the master. Logan played it cool, saying he even learned some moves. Then, he suddenly coughed up blood, terrifying his subordinate. After explaining everything, a week flew by. A sold-out sign was already hanging on the front of Logan's shop. The daily revenue was insane, over 4 million gold coins. Philip was confident they'd hit 4.5 million monthly. They both had that classic greedy businessman look on their faces, ready to take every cent from their customers. Cheers erupted from the shop, echoing through the city. Logan teased Philip about missing out on a performance bonus. Philip literally got on his knees, begging Logan not to ruin his dreams. He'd already sorted the monster meat deals. Everything was running like clockwork. Then, Philip suggested Logan should just buy a house since hotel costs were peaking. Logan shot that down immediately. He was only staying for 18 months before moving the entire operation elsewhere. You and I both know Logan's always up to something, especially since he's always buried in paperwork instead of resting. He appreciated Philip not being too nosy though. Soon, Logan announced it was time to head back to the estate. He told Philip to keep things under control, then dropped a bombshell: he wanted 1 million gold worth of food. Philip was stunned, asking if Logan was trying to feed the whole territory. Logan just told him to find suppliers. Philip thought his master was being a saint, but Logan knew this was just cold necessity for his survival plans. The food shortage in McLain was no joke. It wouldn't be fixed for another year, and hungry people can't work. Even with the records he found, food scarcity was a massive problem. If he wanted results, his people needed food. Before heading out, Logan mentioned he had other business. Elsewhere, the scene was darker, people were literally starving. Illness and hunger were everywhere in this place. Logan walked in and handed a paper to a guy who looked confused. The man asked if Logan was serious about finding these specific people. Logan just stayed focused on the mission. It was clear that these weren't just random choices. Every move Logan made was calculated for the coming war. Philip watched him go, still processing the massive food order that was about to change the fate of their lands. Logan didn't look back. He had a kingdom to build and a destiny that wouldn't wait for anyone else. The path ahead was dangerous, but for the first time, Logan felt like he actually had the upper hand. Every coin spent and every life saved was a brick in the wall he was building against future enemies. He looked at the starving crowd once more. This wasn't charity, it was an investment in the ultimate army. The man with the paper nodded slowly, beginning to realize that Logan wasn't just a merchant or a noble. He was a man who saw the future, and he was willing to pay any price to make it happen. Logan stepped back into the shadows, leaving those desperate people with just a tiny glimmer of hope for tomorrow. There was so much more work to do, and time was running out faster than anyone in the capital realized. Trust me, you and I just witnessed a man who's about to turn this entire world upside down very soon. Stick with me. You're about to see how Logan hunts for elites with almost zero info to go on. Ignoring the guy's complaints, Logan cut straight to the point and asked if he could handle the job. The man was hesitant, but with a massive payday on the line, he really didn't have much of a choice. As Logan walked through the halls, he admitted that finding these legends was going to be tough. Names were likely aliases, but he had to try. Recruiting these future superhumans was the only way to win. In his past life, these warriors were independent monsters who didn't serve any specific kingdom or faction. They were keys to surviving the upcoming war, especially the one who usually worked for the Empire. Suddenly, Logan stopped in his tracks, asking himself why he was in such a huge rush. He looked up at the sky and told himself to chill. He still had plenty of time left. Now pay attention here, things are about to get really tense between a master and his messenger. He had already lost disciples, and the idea of needing more help was just making the Lord furious. The messenger tried to calm him down, explaining that he was just the guy delivering the message. The Lord demanded to know why his disciple was being summoned, but the messenger was terrified to speak. He revealed the mission was a 6-month trip to the remote McLain territory. The bearded man was livid, growled that things weren't going to work out, and grabbed the messenger by the shoulder. He vowed to end this once and for all. Something about this situation was clearly getting under his skin. In another part of the kingdom, a massive magic tower stood tall. Logan arrived to find the receptionist asleep. Logan woke him up, making the poor young guy jump out of his skin in total shock. He scrambled to greet Logan, welcoming him to the Earth Tower of the Kingdom of Grand. Looking at Logan, the guy was confused. Noble face, but those clothes looked super cheap. Logan said he wanted to buy magic scrolls, which made the attendant think he was just some low-level customer. He figured Logan was looking for trash-tier scrolls, but Logan was about to blow his mind. Logan calmly asked for 50 collapsed magic scrolls. The receptionist just stared at him like he was crazy. Logan pulled a document from his coat, a verification from the Cooper Bank itself. You and I both know what 7 million gold looks like. The guy practically started worshipping him on the spot. His attitude did a complete 180. As he rushed to escort Logan upstairs to the VIP area. Collapse magic is a 4th circle earth spell that can literally bring down a hill if used correctly. It takes a while to activate and only works on dirt and mud, making it better for digging. While some used it in war, it was mostly for clearing out mines or big construction projects. Just then, an old man appeared, asking if Logan was serious about buying 150 scrolls. Logan confirmed it. The old guy was ecstatic, saying it had been ages since they saw a big spender. Logan realized this was the Tower Master himself and hadn't expected such a personal welcome. Introducing himself, Logan mentioned he was from a small fief, which caught Thaddeus, the Tower Master's attention. Thaddeus apologized for his apprentice's rudeness and promised to punish the young man for the mistake. The apprentice was shaking in his boots, terrified that he was about to lose his job right now. The master thought to himself that they almost lost a whale of a customer over a stupid mistake. New Earth magic was mostly used for farming now, and noble spending on scrolls was at an all-time low. Logan had no clue that the tower was actually falling into ruin under this guy's leadership. Seeing a massive payday, the old man decided to play this perfectly to squeeze every coin out of Logan. He put on a serious face and told Logan that there was actually a major problem. Logan looked confused and asked what the issue was. The old man explained the difficulty of the scrolls. He claimed 4th circle scrolls needed top-tier supervision, and they were short on high-level mages. With a sharp and annoyed look, Logan asked what that had to do with him. Let's see if this greedy old man can actually keep Logan's interest, or if he just blew the deal. Logan cut him off and stood up, saying if they couldn't do it, then there was no point in talking. Alright, you and I are about to watch Logan pull a massive power move. He threatens to walk if they can't provide 150 scrolls monthly. He mentions going to the Royal Tower instead, and radios loses it. The old master bows low, desperately begging Logan to wait and reconsider. He asks if Logan is truly serious about such a massive monthly order. Logan just nods, confirming he needs 900 scrolls over the next 6 months. The old master sees dollar signs and gets overjoyed, but his celebration is cut short by a cold reality check. Logan points out the obvious. If they can't even handle 150, producing 600 would be a total pipe dream. Logan turns to leave, but the old man literally clings to his leg like a child, promising they will deliver every single scroll. Now, watch this. Logan asks if it is actually possible, and the old man swears he will make it happen somehow. Radio starts crunching the numbers. Fourth circle scrolls go for 10,000 gold each, and producing 150 is a massive undertaking. That is 1.5 million gold a month, totaling 9 million over half a year. The old man is basically vibrating with excitement. He stays on his knees and starts cleaning Logan's shoes. Desperate for the deal, he suggests something even better than just buying scrolls. He suggests Logan hire a mage directly. Logan knows these arrogant magic users usually hate doing manual labor or dirty work. They usually prefer selling scrolls to avoid the grind, but the master is offering it anyway. Logan realizes the potential value here. A fourth circle mage can output 300 scrolls worth of work monthly, so he asks if one is available for hire. Radios clarifies that even he can't just boss around a fourth circle mage like that, but he has another proposal instead. He offers 9 second circle mages and 1 third circle disciple. These guys have worked together on multiple major construction projects before. Master adds that if Logan drops the scroll count slightly, this whole deal becomes much easier to pull off. You and I both know mages are perfect for long-term construction. Logan thinks it is a solid plan and likes the idea. Still, he finds it suspicious that these specialized mages are being offered up so easily. Something feels a little off here. Group appears, and a third circle mage named Grick introduces himself. Logan is a bit confused, but maintains his composure. He introduces himself back, but Radios dismisses them instantly. They scurry away like they are being bullied or mistreated by the master. Logan notes they look pretty weak, but the old man insists these are his most experienced and talented young students. Logan admits they look capable enough, but it is still weird that Radios would just ship them off to some distant province. Regardless, the deal is too good to pass up. Logan tells the old man that the current trade isn't quite fair. Swapping those high-level scrolls for second circle mages doesn't balance out. Logan just gives him a mischievous little grin. Logan counters with 124th circle scrolls plus 10 mages, all for 1.5 million gold per month. Radios is visibly annoyed but reluctantly agrees. Logan realized that based on their skills, he is getting an absolute steal. This kind of talent usually costs way more, so the low price is insane. But then, things take an even weirder turn. The master accepts instantly and wants a contract signed right now. Logan can't believe how fast this guy is moving. He wonders when this contract was even prepared. The whole situation is starting to smell like a trap or a scam. Suddenly, a bearded man appears, announcing he heard the whole thing. He demands a word with the tower master immediately. His disciples try to hold him back, but the man ignores them, walking straight toward the master with zero hesitation. Logan senses he is a fifth circle mage. Clayton confronts the master, demanding to know why he is shipping his disciples away. The old man claims it is for the tower's own good, lying that nobody works as hard as Clayton's specific group of students. Clayton isn't buying the lies. He points out that his students just finished a job and are clearly being targeted. Master already decided to take those boys anyway. Clayton mentions that since he hit the 5th circle and became an elder, he has noticed the old man's constant harassment. The old master gets seriously irritated hearing his dirty laundry aired like this. Logan watches the drama unfold and realizes what is really going on. Clayton managed to reach the 5th circle quite young. He became an elder in a non-traditional way, and the tower master feels completely threatened by his rising power. Since he can't get rid of Clayton, he just bullies his disciples instead. It is a classic case of petty office politics. Logan realizes this internal drama is a huge win for him. This favorable contract is looking more perfect by the second. Radio snaps back, telling Clayton that if he doesn't like the orders, he and his disciples can just pack up and leave. This pushes Clayton over the edge. In a fit of rage, he begins to channel a massive aura around his arms. Master asks if he is actually trying to challenge him, and he starts summoning his own magic into his hands. The sheer pressure makes the entire tower tremble, leaving everyone terrified. Clayton's disciples are in total shock at the escalation. They try to stop him, but Clayton just tells the master to prepare. Trust me, you and I are going to love this showdown. Stick with me. You and I see the old man conjuring power for a fight. At that moment, Logan slammed his hand on the table, cutting the tension. Both mages look toward the young lord, feeling totally confused. After signing that contract, the boy wore a wicked grin, stating that the deal was done and nothing could change it. Logan then ordered the second circle mages to follow him. He turned to Clayton and Radios with a serious look. He told them to do whatever they wanted, because even if the Tower Master changed his mind, the deal was valid. Radios apologized for the mess in front of his client, promising to send the finished scrolls as soon as possible. Clayton was fuming. The Tower Chief knew Clayton was trying to force his own way into an official deal. They began to argue about the terms of the Earth Tower contract. Seeing no other choice, Clayton made a move. He announced he would travel with his disciples. Radios was annoyed, asking if an elder was really becoming a foreman. Even Logan was worried because he could not afford an elder. But Clayton said he did not want any payment. He simply planned to help his students finish the job. Hearing this, Logan bowed deeply to show his respect. He planned to help his students finish the job. Logan bowed deeply before the man asked for a one-day delay. "Trust me, you and I are about to see this journey get wild." The Lord agreed and departure was set. Next day, a carriage moved through the gates. Logan was there waiting for his crew, feeling lucky about his deal. Securing a fifth circle mage was a massive win. He smiled, barely able to wait to return to his family estate. He could hardly wait to return home. As soon as he arrived, the first thing he would do was send Emporik. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out to Lord Logan. He turned and saw Rena sitting in a nearby carriage. She acted high and mighty, telling the protagonist not to use her first name. He addressed her as Miss Wolves. The woman started mocking him, asking if he felt no shame for making all those shady deals she had heard about. Logan just gave her a smirk, saying he was always a bit greedy and it was none of her business anyway. Rena kept acting spoiled, claiming she had paid him plenty, yet he was still out here humiliating himself for cash. McLain just played along, saying he was in deep need, before excusing himself to leave the conversation as fast as possible. But then she mentioned a rumor. People were talking about a unique weapon that dominated a recent territorial battle. With a seductive expression, she asked if he wanted to sell the weapon. Our protagonist played it cool and acted clueless. He claimed it was not special and wanted to avoid embarrassment. He hurried away, leaving a very frustrated Rena behind. Far away from that place, Logan thought even though he was famous for selling Emporik, no nobles showed real interest. Still, the wolf's house was the first to make a move. He noted his weapon was easy to replicate later. Fifth Circle Mage arrived, asking why Logan was here instead of at the western gate for their meeting. McLain just said he ran into someone very annoying. Without wasting more time, the group set off for the territory. Now pay attention, this journey is about to reveal a lot. Several carriages set off toward the McLain family lands. Inside, a thick silence settled between Clayton and Logan. The mage noticed Logan had spent a fortune on these carriages. Each one was spacious enough for 6 people. Clayton told the Lord he did not need to waste such money. Seeing this, Logan realized mages were proud. He replied that hosting elite guests required the best, avoiding any drama. The mage just went silent after that. By nightfall, Logan decided they should stop and rest for now. Away from the others, the young lord sat by a campfire, meditating to sharpen his core strength in the quiet night. Someone with ill intentions appeared behind our protagonist and threw a knife, but the boy easily dodged the attack. He stood up, demanding to know who was there. 2 mysterious assassins stepped out of the shadows, revealing their presence. One figure remarked that for someone who dodged that strike, Logan was quite talented for such a young family lord. A bald man who looked like a criminal laughed, mentioning he heard all about Clayton and those capital sales. He stopped there. Far from the group, the boy sat by a campfire, meditating to strengthen his inner power. Someone appeared behind our protagonist and threw a knife, but the boy easily dodged it. He quickly stood up. He asked who was there, seeing 2 mysterious assassins. One of them said Logan was talented for a young lord. One assassin remarked on his talent, and a bald man who looked like a career criminal stepped out to speak. He mentioned he heard all about Clayton and those capital sales. Looking at the group of people there, he assumed, "So what do you and I make of this?" He assumes they are thieves and says he was just trying to relax. Right, you and I are about to see if our main character can pull off some insane moves he just learned. He pulls his sword immediately, joking that these guys will make perfect punching bags for his training session. One bandit starts yelling at the kid, but before he can even finish his sentence, his throat is sliced open. The rest of the crew is stunned by his speed. One hooded thug loses his cool and charges straight at Logan. He sets up a counter while the enemy aims for his gut. Too bad for the hooded guy, though. He gets his stomach ripped open instead, taking massive internal damage. The force of the strike sends the thug flying. He is taken out instantly. The 3 survivors just stand there, staring at their friend lying, defeated on the dirt. Silence falls over the woods. These bandits are terrified. A brown-haired guy tells the others this is literal suicide. He yells that they have to run now, but before he can move, he realizes his legs are totally stuck. His entire body is paralyzed. Logan is perfectly copying that stance Felix used to trap him in their fight. The boy starts pushing his aura into the blade until the whole sword is covered in a brilliant blue glow. Now watch this part closely. This is where the animation peaks as he mimics the gravity blade perfectly. Every bandit who couldn't flee gets shredded by the attack. Only one lives, sobbing as Logan struggles to hold the form. He is hyped that he finally managed to pull off such a high-level technique. It was a massive success. Staring at his weapon, He notes that compressing all that raw force into a new power is called aura. This was the true awakening of the aura blade. He never expected to copy it at his current power level. It is wild that he can use the force blade even for a moment. Then he spots the last survivor. Logan uses the sword's momentum to crush the opponent's energy through sheer pressure. This move is absolutely oppressive to face. The final bandit hits the floor hard. Logan realizes this technique is going to be a lifesaver in real battles. He moves in for the kill, thinking about how useful this training was. He is becoming a total monster. Criminal screams in terror as the end approaches. After the massacre, Logan stands alone in the quiet forest. He wonders if he went a bit overboard. Suddenly, a voice behind him says they saw the whole thing happen. It is Clayton, who had been watching the Lord from the shadows. The man looks incredibly annoyed and angry. Logan is shocked to see the 5th-class mage there. He starts panicking, wondering why the guy is so pissed. He assumes the mage thinks he was too brutal, even if these guys were just low-life thieves and bandits. You and I thought he was in trouble, but Clayton actually thinks Logan is incredible. The boy is confused, but Clayton explains he just doesn't know much about force users yet. This talent is rare. After seeing that display, he knows Logan is a genius. Relieved, Logan tells him not to overdo the compliments. He realizes the man wasn't actually mad, that's just his face. Some people just have a naturally grumpy vibe. They walk back toward the carriage in total silence. Logan is mostly worried about keeping his secret powers hidden. He chose a spot far from camp on purpose to avoid being seen. So why did Clayton follow him? Wonders about the man's motives. Finally, the bearded mage mentions that his own students are struggling without guidance. He wants to step up and actually teach them something useful. He feels bad they haven't had a proper master. Logan tells him he's already doing a great job, confused as to why he's bringing this up now. Clayton explains that once the real work starts, he needs some free time to focus on his pupils' growth. He promises to work harder than anyone else to make up for it. Logan, being the nice guy, just agrees. Suddenly, Logan feels something strange. He notices mana flowing from Clayton and moving toward a specific spot nearby. The energy flows straight toward the tent where the young mages are sleeping. He can't believe his eyes. Logan is impressed that the mage is literally giving his own mana to his students while they rest and dream. He comments that the bearded man clearly cares a whole lot about his apprentices. It is actually quite touching. Clayton just says he is doing his duty as a teacher. Logan remembers he even fought a tower master once. The man denies the rumor, saying it was actually the elder. Finally, they reach the territory of Logan's noble family. Inside the mansion, he meets his father, Patrick. The man asks if the trip to the capital was worth it. Logan says the experience was incredibly useful. His father looks proud and asks if there is anything else he needs. So, what do you and I think? Is he ready for what's next? Stick around to find out. Alright, stick with me to see how our main character pulls off this ultimate lie to win. He claims the profits are coming soon, but Patrick is just confused. He has no idea what kind of business his son is running. Logan reveals he started a business using that same special medicine he'd given his father before. Talk about awkward. The patriarch puts 2 and 2 together. He asks if his son really went to the capital just to sell those questionable adult medicines. Looking totally disappointed, the man reminds Logan that he promised not to interfere in his business, but this is a bit much. He just wants him to think about the family reputation for once. Logan nods, playing it cool as usual. Logan is relieved his dad is taking it so well. Then he drops a bombshell. He actually met the legendary Sword Duke. He claims they hit it off, and Patrick's eyes go wide. He asks if he's seriously talking about the great Felix. The Lord asks if he actually sold that medicine to a guy like that. Logan just gives a casual yes, like it's nothing. Patrick is ready to lose it, but Logan quickly explains he got a secret intermediate sword technique in exchange for the goods. Patrick looks over the book, clearly impressed. Logan tells him it's a legitimate, high-level intermediate sword skill through and through. Now watch closely, this is where we see his big brain move. He wrote the book himself while staying at the mansion. Years later, a merchant finds this iron blood sword. It was discovered deep in some ruins, and it's actually one of the most elite sword techniques in existence. Back then, the merchant sold copies to a select few, but eventually, the entire manual started leaking into the black market. It eventually went viral, but that won't happen for another 10 years in this timeline. Finding the family knights in this now would make them unstoppable. Plus, if they can master the specific sword energy required. With the secrets of the divine sword, his father and Ronian would finally have a trump card. There's a catch. This technique is so extreme it can actually cause serious internal damage if you aren't careful. His father would usually never allow such risky training, but using the Sword Duke's name makes it sound totally legit. Patrick reads through it and realizes this is on a whole different level. It's way more advanced than their family's old records. He admits that it's nearly impossible for low-ranked nobles to ever get their hands on an intermediate sword technique. This is exactly why he's been stuck for 10 years. He tells Logan that if they can master this properly, Knight Order would get 30% stronger overnight. Logan just smiles and says that sounds great. Logan tries to make a proposal, but his dad cuts him off. He's determined to master this technique to honor the Duke. The boy tries to slow him down, but Patrick is already locked in. He says there's no time to waste anymore. This is his top priority now, so he's actually going to leave the family affairs to Logan for a little while. He hands over a stamp, and Logan realizes it's the official McLain family seal. As Patrick walks away, he gives one order. Logan needs to help Dwayne manage the family while he's gone. He'll be back once he's perfected that new sword skill. The boy tries to call him back, but his dad is already gone. He vanished so fast, Logan couldn't even say a word. I know what you're thinking with that seal. He's totally unstoppable now. And yeah, he's ready. He can get everything ready before his father returns. But suddenly, Dwayne bursts right into the room. He's already heard all about the young master's big wins in the capital. The blonde man looks at the boy. He's here to ask for some financial help, but Logan's confused. Didn't they just get a lot of battle funds? Dwayne explains that the cash isn't enough to run both fortresses, especially since they lost so many workers in the last battle. Even Kairos cut them off. The short man starts begging Logan for a cut, knowing the boy just made a huge fortune. Logan just smiles and apologizes, saying he's already spent every last cent. Dwayne is shocked he knows Logan made millions of gold. He demands to know where it all went. Logan stays silent, and Dwayne tells him this joke really isn't funny. They just stare at each other in total silence until the realization finally hits Dwayne like a ton of bricks. He asks if Logan is being serious, and our redhead hero confirms it. Again, Dwayne asks where the money actually went. Logan starts listing his investments, but Dwayne is lost. Why would he blow all that money on things like magic scrolls? He spent it on building supplies and massive amounts of food. Dwayne tries to argue that feeding the people won't help. Logan cuts him off. He's dropping 1,000,000 gold. He repeats it. He's handing out 1,000,000 gold worth of food. He's doing this every single month for a whole year. Dwayne goes into a panic, asking if the boy's lost his mind. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. All right, you and I are about to watch one of the smartest leadership moves in history. Dwayne agreed, but pointed at the massive pile of materials, asking if construction was starting already. Logan dropped the bomb. They were building a dam. 2 weeks later, notices went up everywhere. The draft was official. Every man from Tess and McLean was called to work. At Tess Fortress, people were furious. Nobles were bleeding them dry. McLean was just as bad. Labor during harvest meant starvation. A man shouted that the Lord was basically killing them. He felt the nobles just wanted them dead in the end. Crowds gathered with tools, ready for war. A mob marched on the estate, ready to tear the Lord down. A nervous young man asked if they were really doing this. The elder nodded grimly. Nobles had pushed them too far. This time, they had the numbers to fight. The young man swallowed hard, realizing this was their only shot. They were going to drag the nobles down. Then, the gates opened. Peasants gripped pitchforks. Knights stood ready inside. Watch this. The knights ordered a massive food distribution instead. The angry crowd froze. Carriages rolled out, but not for war. The elder screamed trickery. He didn't trust the greedy nobles. Suddenly, a knight walked up and handed a heavy sack to the elder. By Logan's order, every worker gets a month of family grain. Distribution starts now. Get in line and be orderly. Rage turned to joy. They realized they would not starve. He stood there, filled with regret. He sobbed, shouting blessings. Soon, the crowd joined him. Thousands chanted Logan's name. Dwayne watched, stunned. He asked his lord if the forced draft was actually necessary. Logan shrugged. Without the draft, barely anyone would have shown up. Commoners don't trust nobles. Most lords just see people as property. Mercenary life taught him how peasants see rulers. To them, the only good noble is one who steals less. Even his father valued knights over the common people. He kept 50 knights despite the budget issues. He forced them here so they could see the truth. You and I can see Dwayne is absolutely speechless. Logan just told him to keep moving. The real construction starts now. Thinking of costs, Dwayne begged him to reconsider. 2 million was insane. Logan laughed at his hesitation. The mage and Homer were confused by the plan. Logan wanted to drill rock and divert the river. Confident as ever, he said it was doable. Territory was barren, surrounded by useless mountains. Those northern peaks blocked the river from flowing south. His solution? Punch a hole right through the northern range. Homer joked that tearing down the whole mountain sounded more realistic. Logan just smiled and told him to listen. Trust me, you and I are going to see a 30-meter tunnel change everything. All right, you and I are about to see how Logan uses future knowledge to build a floodgate that won't exist for another 20 years. This flow control method will be famous in the future empire, but right now, it is just a wild idea in the boy's head. He knows the plan is solid, and with a master dwarf and a level 5 mage, they can finally complete the construction once and for all. If they succeed, they will turn the barren wastelands of Western McLean into beautiful, green plains perfect for farming crops. Clayton, the mage, looks ready to complain about the work, but Hammer tells him they need to be extremely careful with the location. The dwarf explains that soil quality is key, and they must design the water channels perfectly so the whole tunnel does not collapse. Clayton whispers to the dwarf, asking if this is actually possible. But Hammer realizes he just spoke all his doubts out loud for everyone. With a terrifying and malicious look on his face, our protagonist steps closer and asks the duo if it is really possible to do. Hammer admits he is already stressed about other projects, but Logan reveals that he has a massive pile of magic scrolls ready for them. Approaching his loyal vassal, Logan says he is leaving the search for the legendary Rich Mountain to the dwarf, making the old man furious. Meanwhile, Clayton, the mage, is just watching the chaos, wondering if following this crazy kid was actually a good idea. Clayton was just observing the situation and wondering if everything was okay, as we return to the mountainside in the present. Clayton is releasing his power, and everyone is questioning if what they are seeing is actually magic because it is just so impressive. Stick with me here, as Hammer tells the mage that if he is ready, they should start the earth-shattering demolition work right now. Clayton raises his hand toward the cliffside, and a massive explosion slams into the mountain, sending huge rocks flying through the air like paper. The civilians helping with the work start running in a total panic as the debris comes crashing down toward them from the sky above. Logan just stands his ground while watching the destruction, while poor Hammer hides behind his young master's leg to stay safe. When the smoke clears, the dwarf starts scolding the mage, reminding him that he was explicitly told to take it easy on the mountain. Watching this, Logan thinks to himself that mana is the ultimate power humans can possess, even more than raw physical strength. Unlike in his previous life, he can now see the earth mana flowing from the circle in Clayton's heart in complex and beautiful patterns. Logan can't believe his own eyes, realizing his force core has evolved his senses to a level that is truly transcendent and godlike. The mage tells him to be careful and stay alert because the display is not over yet, as he prepares his next big trick. Now pay attention here, as Logan realizes the mage is actually performing a much more complicated and powerful ancient spell. Clayton clenches his fist, and suddenly the fallen rocks start to gather together, swirling in the air like they are being pulled by magnets. All the debris merges together into a peculiar structure, and Logan finally begins to understand the scale of what is actually happening. Looking ahead, the boy sees a gargantuan stone golem forming right in front of his eyes, towering over the landscape like a rocky god. He is absolutely amazed that Clayton could build something that huge without any tools, simply by using the raw power of his mana. Logan thinks that if they can make more of these golems, the construction will finish much faster than he ever hoped. But more importantly, he realizes these stone monsters could be used for warfare, and the thought makes the young man gulp in anticipation. He grabs Clayton's hand with a terrifyingly greedy expression, asking the mage exactly how many of these golems he's capable of making. He also asks if Clayton's students have the skills to build them too, and the man confirms they definitely do. Clayton explains they are all from the golem school of the Earth Magic Tower, but he drops a huge reality check. Creating a golem core for a human to control is only possible at the 5th cycle, so his students will need mana stones instead. Hearing this, Logan's heart sinks because mana stones are rare minerals that are just as expensive as mithril or orichalcum. The narrator explains that mana stones are pure natural energy, which makes them one of the most valuable resources in the whole world. They cannot be created by humans and are mainly used for high-level magic or artifacts, meaning they cost a literal fortune. Logan decides that even if they aren't perfect for war yet, they are still important, and he asks if stones make golems stronger. Clayton says yes, explaining that their speed and strength would increase significantly and the monster would be able to last much longer. However, as a master mage, Clayton would need higher-grade stones for his work, which are even harder to find and way more expensive. Even for a basic 2nd cycle spell, a low-grade stone would keep a golem moving for at least 24 hours straight. Logan calculates that a single low-grade mana stone costs about 1 gold coin, which is a pretty bad investment for such short use. But for a small-scale war between local lords, using these golems could easily yield massive results and crush any army in his way. Our protagonist continues to analyze all the data while watching Clayton, knowing that his path to power is finally becoming very clear. After some time, we see poor Dwayne and the workers looking absolutely horrified as they stand before the massive, mountain-crushing stone monster. And that's where we leave it, trust me. You're going to want to see how this golem changes the territory forever. Alright, let's jump back in. Logan explains that the giant golem isn't destroying anything. It is just digging a tunnel. The short man wasn't buying it one bit and insisted he would have to report every single detail to the patriarch. Logan just sighed at the guy and told Hammer to take all the workers to the water channel since they weren't needed here. As the dwarf gets to work, Logan starts thinking about the 3 massive projects he has got running at the same time. First up is the dam tunnel, a total priority. Then there is the water channel, which is going to distribute river water everywhere. This water will reach every corner of these isolated lands, but the third and most vital project is definitely the mine. He remembers getting those excavation results back while he was in Grand and immediately sending a team of workers straight there. Logan realizes that ever since he got back from the capital, the dam construction has kept him way too busy. He hasn't even had a moment to inspect the mine itself. The next day, we see workers constantly moving in and out. Hammer is there too, which confuses Logan because he just saw the dwarf working over at the dam the day before. The grumpy dwarf blames Logan for making him run back and forth between the mine and the water channel like a madman. Hammer slams his towel down, complaining that he is completely done and just wants to curl up and die already. Now pay attention, the dwarf keeps whining about needing a break and argues with Logan about his insane workload. The surprisingly gentle look, Logan drops a hand on Hammer's shoulder and tells him he totally gets it. He tells the dwarf he has done an incredible job, and that is exactly why Hammer should keep managing everything. With a wicked grin, Logan adds that Hammer should also use his spare time to write up a full progress report. That just makes the dwarf even more furious. He accuses Logan of trying to dump every single responsibility onto his back. Realizing he is busted, Logan raises his pinky finger and swears he is being totally serious about his next promise. He vows to let the dwarf rest forever once construction finishes. Terrified by that ominous offer, Hammer backs away. He begs Logan to stay away, but our main character uses all his strength to force the dwarf into a promise. Walking away with total confidence, Logan just laughs and thinks about how cheeky his little subordinate has become lately. Staring at the mine, he knows this place will develop way faster than it ever did in his previous life. Even with the dam slowing things down, it is all coming together. Later, Philip reports some great news to Logan. Construction materials are being delivered perfectly on time. He also mentions they have finally reached a solid deal. They negotiated 100,000 gold coins per month with the lumberjack, and Logan gives him a huge thanks. Claude points out that once the mine is built and the land is cleared, the whole territory will be completely transformed. Logan agrees but says Claude should visit next year instead. This leaves Claude totally confused about the sudden delay. He wants to know why the visit is a year away. Suddenly, Logan's expression shifts and he becomes dead serious. He drops a bombshell. There is a rumor about a massive problem brewing within the royal family right now. Logan heard about it at the Sword Duke's estate, but he doesn't have all the gritty details just yet. He orders his vassal to dig deeper into those rumors. As he works, Logan starts thinking back to his past. Stick with me here in his past life. The king dies suddenly next winter, sparking a brutal civil war. But back then, he only heard this from a low-ranking mercenary, so the details might be a bit shaky. If the king's death really was a surprise, even if it happens again, the exact timing might have shifted this time. Just like the local wars, the timing of this massive civil war could change, giving them a chance to prepare. Finally, the young lord declares that the McLain family is going to turn this entire kingdom upside down. After that, Logan tells Philip to set aside an emergency budget to buy as many weapons and sets of armor. He wants enough to arm 1,500 men. Claude is baffled, since the family has fewer than 100 knights. Logan just smirks and says the gear isn't for the knights at all. It is for the common soldiers. Claude thinks he has lost his mind because literally nobody spends that kind of money arming common soldiers like that. Logan knows it seems crazy since so many people in his territory were wiped out during the last brutal war. Their military strength took a massive hit, which means they need to completely change how they recruit their new forces. He wants to stop forcing peasants into battle and instead maximize the power of his knights and regular standing soldiers. By arming even the weakest soldiers as part of his master plan, Logan asks if he has made a mistake. And that is where we leave it, trust me. The McLain family is about to take over. All right, stick with me. Logan has that look in his eyes as he decides he is finally going for it. Philip agrees, promising to dig into those rumors. Logan knows he needs mine, gold, food, and better gear for his troops. Basic prep for the big move was going great. Everything was finally falling into place for our hero's grand plan. Cut to the office, where Logan is buried in a massive mountain of endless paperwork that needs his signature. He just starts signing without even reading, which immediately gets him a massive earful from his stressed-out financial manager. Dwayne suddenly remembers it has been a month. He looks at the exhausted boy with a smug expression. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Dwayne asks if Logan thought ruling the territory would be an easy job. Logan snaps that his father never worked this hard, but Dwayne admits he handled all the affairs himself. Logan is annoyed, asking why his subordinate dumped all this on him. Dwayne says he needs to learn the ropes. Logan claims he is not the successor, but Dwayne just looks at him like he is totally crazy. Does he really think anyone else is taking that spot? Suddenly, Keelan bursts in with some terrifyingly urgent news. Hammer is trapped in a collapsed mine. This disaster could ruin everything as our story hits a major cliffhanger. Subscribe now so you and I can see if they save him.